The crystal thrones. A group of young bards stands before it. A half-elf, a dragonborn, an earth genasi, and a pixie. There's a sound in the background that's undiscernible and indescribable and still inescapable. People who come here can't help but hear it. You can't actually see it happen, but it touches the bard's souls in a powerful way. There's a change that comes over them. Not necessarily a physical one, but it does affect their presence. This is a change in their souls. A change that lasts forever. So, when we last left you guys off, you were in the throne room of the Emperor, the guy that you think is your friend, and he's just nice to you.
Why do you guys say it like that?
Because...
Why? Why? Why you gotta start with that?
Because
he's saying because he's the Emperor.
Yeah.
But we don't treat him like the Emperor. We
No.
treat him like he's our friend.
You hug him.
Yeah.
People don't hug the Emperor. But Othig doesn't hug anybody but the Emperor, so it was...
The Emperor.
You did!
I did?
Yeah!
When?
When he...
A few times.
At the end of the Civil War, when he decided to abandon the North, you hugged him. Yeah, go back and listen to it. You totally hugged the Emperor.
When did I do it?
At the end of the Civil War.
When we fought with him in the arena.
And he was so sad that he was killing his own people. And he couldn't take it anymore. You hugged him.
He needed a hug!
You made me go get ice cream. That's what started.
Who does that guy have? Come on. Who does he have? Who does he have if not the heroes of the Kren Nation, the Granite Backs? Who does he have?
His daughter.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a daughter. He's got quite a few children. So
He's probably got a few he doesn't know about.
that's possible. Probably.
Probably cries in the darkness.
So, you're in his throne room. Lady Vastia, at the end of the event last week, came forward, put a silver dragon figurine on the ground, and watched as the figurine transformed. And as that happened, it transformed into a silver dragon. She diminished and turned into a smaller figurine, which the dragon then picked up and tucked away underneath it. Some of its looser scales, something like that. They got, I don't know if people know this, but dragons are a lot like marsupials. They got pouches under their scales. They keep their precious things there. I just made that up. I don't think it. I don't think it'll stick.
When he was talking about cargo pants. For all my stuff.
I believe that's called a cloaca.
Yeah, but probably. So, anyways, no, Felindor picked up the figurine.
Yep.
That's who picked it up. I knew somebody picked it up. And then the silver dragon turned toward the Emperor and demanded that he fulfill his oath. And that's...
Demanded?
Oh, it was definitely a tone that was demanding.
Okay, but in one spot, I distinctly remember you writing that you italicized. I thought you italicized the word "asked."
Yes, I probably did.
The words she used were asking.
Okay.
But the tone she used was not asking.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that. I just wanted to clarify.
We're all married. There's no clarification needed.
She was very diplomatically making a demand of him.
No, I wanted clarification. It's totally different.
Me too. I'm married too.
It's not what I'm talking about. Go back to eating whatever you're eating.
Ice cream.
He's just eating a ton of ice cream right out of the tub and talking with his mouth full, so it's like extra fat.
That's great. That's great.
But that's where we left off. Was that scene just unfolded? I'm gonna ask if there's anything you guys want to do before Emperor responds. I mean, do you all want to let out a collective gasp that draws everyone's attention?
Well, now I feel like I should give him a hug.
I was gonna say.
He's on the throne. He's not in a huggable position at the moment.
That's not true. Everyone's huggable.
Man, I'm just gonna push kind of Othig towards the Emperor, be like, "Yo, hug him."
Give him a hug.
Just like push me on the shoulder a little bit. Like, I think he needs a hug. Why don't you go? Why don't you go and give him a hug?
He looks a little down right now.
It looks like he needs a hug.
Othig has never lived the hug down.
I would like to take a physical stance that shows at least some sort of support of the Emperor's side. Wherever we're standing, I would like to be nearer to the Emperor than to the dragon.
Okay. So you shift around the room just a little bit, obviously in a respectful fashion. There's a fair amount of tension in the room. The Emperor doesn't say anything for a bit.
I just imagine Jeffrey like cautiously shuffling his feet, like sliding towards where he wants to be, like trying to look inconspicuous, but obviously standing up.
I kind of pictured with his big like halfling feet, he kind of got up on his tiptoes and did that Fred Flintstone sneak thing where just his toes move.
That's even better.
Slides across. The Emperor leans forward then and says, "It shall be delivered to you, along with the support necessary. Why now?" And Vastia's neck kind of coils back, almost like a snake that's going to strike. And she looks around the room and she says, "It's none of their business."
Mav would just kind of nod.
You're probably right.
Back out of the room.
Are you leaving?
I think I would say something to the effect towards the Emperor, like, you know, by your leave. Like, if you want us to leave, we'll leave.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He nods at you. He's got that look on his face where, yeah, that's probably the best. And it's a kind nod and dismissal, but it's definitely a dismissal nod. So you guys shuffle out of the room, they lock the doors.
Yeah.
Guards take position. You're kind of out there awkwardly with Barney / Felindor. You don't know his name's Felindor yet. You still think his name's Barney.
Barney.
He's leaning up against the wall, picking at his nails with a knife or something. Probably an arrow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
He doesn't have any arrows.
No, he wouldn't, because they're all magical.
They're all magical.
Nah, he's probably got a few.
Well, definitely
Just-
got some bladed
You
items.
can't pick your nails with a magic arrow?
No, it'll cut you.
It's not magic. It's an ethereal arrow.
Yeah, that appears when
They
he
don't-
uses his bow.
When he draws the bow, it shows up when he looses it.
He's probably got some for show.
Probably.
For show.
And when he wants to really show off and kill something with a real arrow, so people aren't like, "Oh, you just kill it because it's magic." He's like, "Whatever." And then he hits a fly at 300 yards with a real arrow. Anything you guys want to do while you're out here? You're in the palace. There's guards around. There's random nobles shuffling about.
Is there any alcohol around here?
I was just gonna say we should find a bar.
You find some random servant and demand a drink, and they make a persuasion check. One of you.
I'm totally getting in on this. Don't even roll before me.
Before we actually do leave, I would what was the guard captain or lieutenant that we were with? Did he go back already, or is he still around us?
They were in the throne room as well, so they'd probably leave at the exact same time you guys did.
Okay, I would tell the Emperor that he did excellent.
Yeah, there were 2 guards that survived the ordeal.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
None of them were captains. They were just guys that were assigned.
You said one of them was the lieutenant, but you didn't say who was who.
I thought the lieutenant was the guy you talked to at the
right.
dock.
No, you're totally right.
And then he just
assigned some.
yep.
That's
Just
right.
6 of his men to help. So you pass along their, the fact that they did awesome and they performed admirably, and so yeah, they will be rewarded according to their efforts and their station. And then you guys go find a bar. You grab some servant, and Othig's like, "Beer."
Well, I didn't want to go to a bar because I'm
No, I know you don't. I said bar. I didn't mean bar. I know you want to stay in the palace, but you need something to drink. And
Let's
so
invite the dwarf guy along.
Which
Or-
dwarf guy?
Not the dwarf guy. He's an elf.
yeah, he's an elf.
Let's invite him along.
He'll come. He says, "Sure,
Oh, is he? Yeah, sure.
sure. Why not?" Felindor, he pays attention. He You grab a random passing servant, and Othig starts shaking him and asking about beer. Like, in a very passionate manner. It's a wonderful persuasion check. And then Mav is like, you should probably really give him some. And comes along with a little bit more subtle touch. And the servant's, right this way. So they take you down a couple of flights of stairs and off to the side a little bit. And you're in more of a, not quite the general barracks cafeteria, but you're in a more common eating area. And several servants bring out just a lot. They know there's dwarves here, so they bring out enough for afternoon drinks. Mm-hmm. And so you all start drinking.
In trouble here again, but I'm going to ask Felindor, which we know is Barney, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to be like, Barney, does this have anything to do with enter name that Tony can't remember, but the name that I mentioned to the gold dragon? That he was like, you're really in the business of mentioning names you shouldn't, and I'm going to mention that name.
I don't remember what name that was.
The red dragon?
Oh, the red dragon?
I have him.
Carathandrelus.
Yes.
He says, he just looks at you, he says, I honestly don't know. I was just told to make sure Vastia made it here. She's really interesting, that one.
Wait, you don't work for her?
No. I work for the Emperor.
Oh. Alright. I thought he worked for...
He kind of just smirks and smiles. He says, I'm very good friends with some of her acquaintances. Then he leans forward and says it very much like they're not just acquaintances. Like, there's a lot more going on there than he's willing to let on. But he just basically communicates that he's part of a shared company.
Yeah. Well, have I met him before then? If he works for the Emperor and I've been here?
You probably would not have recognized him.
Fair enough. He's an undercover fella?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In a lot of cases. Sometimes he's not, like right now, but most of the time he is.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
So you guys are drinking it up.
Yeah.
Talking with Felindor. He's a pretty tight-lipped guy. He appreciates the company. Most people, he would let slip that most people don't invite him for drinks after they spend days with him and find out that he's not who he says he is, and all of the things that went along with a mission like the one you were just on.
Yeah, we're very used to that, actually.
This is Thursday.
Yeah.
Did you say this is just Thursday?
Yeah.
I mean, Jeffrey's trying to live up to the statement that was made to him of you're playing at a new level and we're making sure you can. Jeffrey's trying to rub elbows. He's trying to actually get into that mode.
Make a persuasion check then.
And figure out how to act.
He's trying to actually get acceptance into the guild.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Always. You said persuasion?
Yeah.
Persuasion. Yeah, well, 21.
21. So he opens up a little bit more. He talks about how most of the world exists in a happy state where they have no idea that it's all about to end.
But it's always about to end.
But it is always about to end. And that people in his position and the position that you are beginning to find yourselves in, and we're to some degree being tested for, are the ones who usually keep that from happening.
I mean, we've kept that from happening on a smaller scale.
He nods and he's like, yeah, you helped win the Civil War, which is nothing compared to, say, the entire decimation of the northern continent where no living thing could ever be there again.
We did stop,
I mean, we did stuff like that
Nightmare
too.
Lord.
You did fight the Nightmare Lord, but we would have continued to exist through that.
Oh.
We would have been asleep and trapped in nightmares, but sooner or later it would have relented and things would have gone back to normal.
So what is it you're referring to?
I'm referring to the things that keep that from ever happening. where that even that is looked at as a mid-sized problem.
Huh. Something destroyed the northern continent?
No, he's saying there's things like that. He's talking about events that could wipe out the entire half of the continent and no living thing could ever be there again. That's what he's interested in.
Gotcha. I thought he was saying that as if it happened and he experienced it.
Oh, well, things like that have happened that he's experienced.
Sorry, was he saying that the
they've
situation
stopped?
with Nightmare Lord was not one of those situations, but
It was creeping up on that, but basically humanity and every living being on the planet would have just fallen asleep and entered into that zombie-like nightmare state, but it wouldn't have ended existence.
Oh.
he's
Yeah.
involved
Yeah,
in next
it wasn't
level
terrible.
stuff, yo.
Yep. He's
Huh. What level are you?
he's level high.
I feel like bards are the only ones that can ask that question.
He's level 21.
What level are you?
So you guys are having this conversation and you're talking about things, and this messenger comes like flying into the common room. He's looking around and he sees Jeff, and he's like,
Oh crap.
and he just yells out, "You are here! That's fantastic! Someone said they saw you in the hallway. Can't believe it!" And then he just runs right back out of the room.
Wait, who's
A messenger.
Oh, just a random messenger.
Yep.
Am I in trouble?
No, he looked excited.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm not in trouble.
That's
Did he
true.
look like Ulrin?
No, no, he didn't
Did he
look
look like he's been with Ulrin? Was he wearing pants?
Yeah, he definitely had a. Well, he's got on a messenger's outfit. You guys would know that they wear a special uniform to kind of designate them, and to some degree they get left alone by common people when they're on an errand. It's kind of a sign to say, "Look, I'm a messenger. I'm busy. Leave me alone."
He's got a mailman bag.
Yeah, something like that. And Felindor's looking at you guys, and he looks at Jeff, and he smirks, and he's like, "Well, that was strange." He kind of tips his head to the side.
I don't know what that was about.
And then a few minutes later, several guards come into the room and post themselves around the room.
Crap.
And the door opens up again, and in walks this messenger, and on his arm is a very elderly, very extravagantly dressed Zinji man.
Oh.
Jeff, you recognize this guy.
Yeah.
You know this man. This is the voice of the Emperor.
I'm not in trouble.
You're not in trouble.
I mean, the night's still young.
It's true. I would herald his welcome. I would herald his entrance, or at least attempt to.
Go then make a heralding check. Roll for herald.
Roll for herald. Hey, a herald. Dang it.
You do an okay job, but you stumble a little bit on his actual name.
You should become better at heralding.
Shut up.
The
Did you call him the vice of
Mav,
the emperor?
Mav just shakes his head like, yeah, he did terrible with us too.
No, it's a thing where like you say all of this stuff in your language, like, "Oh, this is the voice of the Emperor of the country of Zenji, or most honorable guest. His name is," and you butcher. Yep, you butcher some Asian sounding name, and it's just
Adil Dazim.
yep, it's bad news.
I hate you so much.
And once you start, it's just this train wreck of syllables and sounds coming out of your mouth. It's not so great. He just smiles.
Racist.
It's a little racist, probably.
Yeah, probably.
But he just smiles. There's a part of him that he appreciates that you attempted. And he sits down across from everybody, and he kind of shoos off the messenger, and then he grabs him by the hand and looks at him, and then points at the glasses and the mugs for ale, and there's not one for him. And he motions for the boy to fix that. So this guy runs off, gets him a mug. He says, "It is good to see you again, Jeffrey. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Jeffrey?"
Jeffrey just hangs his head in shame.
He's like, It has been many weeks since we were together in my country. How are things with you?
Our keep is about to go to war, I think.
Are you doing this thing where you start yelling real loud and slow?
No, God.
You're trying to come up with some cockamamie sign language? Like...
No. If it even starts to turn in that, I'm using my.
It's like we are going.
I would give him a
Going.
recap. On
War.
Yeah, I would give him a current recap on the goings on.
Oh, that is a very interesting problem. This man has stolen your water for your people.
Yep. So we're trying to figure that one out diplomatically to start with, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to want to talk to us, which means we're going to have to talk at him, and that usually involves Thanak doing something aggressive.
Well, perhaps we can teach you some new ways to leverage your voice in order to get through to a stone-headed man.
Ooh, that would be very advantageous. That would be very helpful.
Oh, well, very good. Well, I'm going to go take a nap now. And he just gets up and leaves.
You'll find us here, I guess. Yeah, that was weird. Okay. But I'm not going to stop him. He's on his own timetable. I feel like me trying to stop him would be like anyone trying to stop Jackie Chan from doing anything.
Maybe. So, some time goes on. Felendor comments again that was strange. He's like, you travel in interesting circles.
Yeah, concentric mostly. That's how I feel like Jeffrey was trying to talk.
What?
Where is the mother?
That's great.
That's really funny. So you guys hang out for a while later, and then you're summoned back to the Emperor's chamber, or the throne room, at some point in time. Vastia is no longer there.
Where'd she go?
You don't know. I'm just letting you know she's not there.
I will ask the Emperor. Where did the dragon go?
He would tell her that she has taken something that the Kren people were protecting for her and left with it.
No one's protecting her on her way back?
They shouldn't need to with where she went.
Fair enough.
That's all he's really got to say about that matter.
Yeah, we got real hurt bringing her here. Can we have a nap?
You would have been able to get a short rest in for sure in this time. So if you wanted to spend some hit dice, I don't know if you'll need to unless you're about to pick a fight with the Crown Guards. You probably don't need to worry about it at the moment.
But I'm
Remember,
real
no
worried that
guys. Let's
Ulrin's
pick 'em
Never, no.
I'm just real worried Ulrin's gonna show up.
Well, that usually doesn't hurt your body, at least not till the next morning.
Yep. Heal up a little bit.
So
Would you guys like to rest and heal? No, we're just gonna have social encounters for the rest of the game.
Those never end poorly for Jeff.
Nope. So he asks you if you need anything else before you travel back. He makes small talk with you about the keep. He does discuss the problem with Galvarin and the dam, and
Does he have any advice?
He's already sent some troops down that way.
Win.
Oh.
So,
That's his advice.
but he said the situation's complicated. Under the law, he has every right to do what he's doing. So, for the Emperor to use his troops would be against the law.
Mav would actually ask the Emperor what strategic laws can be manipulated to resolve the situation
Ooh.
within the law.
I think he already told it. Is that if we as his neighbors came to
Basically,
You-
tell him what's up.
yeah, you had said that as like we could conquer him.
You could conquer him. You guys as his immediate neighbors could pick a fight.
Yeah.
Yep. And Jeffrey put out feelers last week to find out how plausible that would be for us,
Well, yeah,
or
and
if there's anything that we could use to manipulate him.
I also want to say, and I don't know time wise, I don't know. So I am super tired. So like, my synapses just are not firing right now.
Sounds like a
we-
you problem.
Oh, I don't know. It definitely is a me problem. No, it's a you problem because you gotta hear it. The feast that we were gonna have, the banquet that we were gonna have, did we have that already?
You have not
He
actually.
didn't show
We
up.
did, but he didn't come.
Yeah,
No, we invited him, but he didn't.
yeah. That's what
respond.
happened. You have not had it yet, but he did not.
Because that was also something that we were going to talk about to the other neighbors about how do we as a
Mm-hmm.
group
Yes.
handle this.
Yep. So, but
Conquer.
and that is planned for. We'll do that when you return to your keep, because it is planned for soon. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically the advice the Emperor has to give, and he sent his troops there just to reinforce his feelings on the situation, even if they're not doing much.
Could we buy your troops and then sell them back to you when we're done? that way.
Rent the mercenaries.
No, we don't want to rent them. We want to buy them.
We want
So
them to be
that-
our troops when we engage.
so that he is not involved in this.
That is not something that can be done, because that opens up a whole bucket of worms nationwide for people with resources to start murking out the actual army.
It's like,
That's
what if he
bad.
just sold us his entire army for like
It's like a couple
a
days.
rusty coin?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
We aren't in that level of friendship yet.
It's not even that. It's just a terrible precedent to set nationwide.
Yeah.
Well, I
So,
mean, he doesn't have to tell anybody that's what we're doing.
Well, he doesn't just say anything about
That's the
it.
point. No
feel
one has
like-
to tell anyone anything. I'll figure it out.
I feel like we also didn't have to tell anyone we had a squid ship, and people figured it out.
No, people
So-
did not.
No one's figured that out yet.
No one is.
You didn't
They
read Discord.
They think they figured it out.
no, there's.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few people out there that think that squid ships are real, and maybe they'll storm Area 51 someday too.
Yeah.
They can't shoot them all.
Have
Yeah.
you seen the Internet Explorer one coming across yet that says, "Hey guys, I'm off to storm Area 51," and the longer it takes for this to get to your dashboard, the funnier it is.
It's really funny. So he asks if there, after small talk and getting caught up, if there's anything else he can do for you while you're here. He said he's heard you've already made yourselves available to his reserves.
Oh yes. Yeah.
We didn't know how long it would take.
There's still some left for you.
There's plenty left. We only had a couple. Gee,
All right.
it's not like we're rolling out of here with kegs. Gee, but we're not, are we?
You're right.
You say that as you look at yourself, thinking you got one under each arm. Oh, I shouldn't take these. You just drop them and kind of kick them back behind yourself.
I wouldn't have them under my arms. They'd already be outside if I was really gonna. No, that's probably untrue. Also, I probably wouldn't let them out of my sight. But
So you guys then are escorted out if there's nothing further with the Emperor. I just want to make sure if you had any other business, you had an opportunity to take care of it. He escorts you out. Out at the gates, you see a very interesting style of carriage. Jeff would have seen these before. It's a rickshaw, and the voice is in the rickshaw napping. He's just passed out in the sunshine, taking a nap. There's a young man there that drives the rickshaw, and he sees you guys come out, and he bows at you. And as you go to leave, he follows you.
Can you remind Tony why he's here?
He is coming to pay you a visit so you can actually progress to level 12.
Oh, yes.
That's why you went on a trip on your off week to go get him.
Mike, I have 4 jobs. I'm sorry. I can't remember. Yes, I remember now. I was like, why is he here? Like, what did I do?
You asked him to come. You invited him.
Yeah, I remember that now, but I was like, what did I do? What did the bards do? Why am I in trouble? Like, is that the dragon? I was terrified.
They
I was
didn't.
like,
They
what did I
didn't.
do?
They didn't do anything.
I forgot that he needed to be here for that.
Yep. Because of the service you provided the actual emperor, the emperor has given you a week with his voice.
I do remember that now. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder.
So, you guys travel back. He wakes up about halfway through, and he starts to ask you all sorts of just questions about where you live, about the grass and the trees and the animals, and things are like, oh, is this a common kind of tree here?
Yeah.
And the answer is always yes.
Yeah.
Very good. And he asks you all about that. And then he asks you a really interesting question. He's like, how far away is New Barovia from here?
Do we know? We know that. We know.
We do-ish. I mean, I would know because I sent people out there. But
Yeah, it's about 6 days, 5-6 days travel.
So yeah, we'll let
I
him know
would say
that.
that we provide him that information.
Yeah.
I may visit there when I leave here. Our last emperor has had his ashes spread there, and I am told a beautiful tree grows in the garden.
Your last emperor had his ashes scattered.
Some of them.
Somewhere outside of country.
Mm-hmm. Because the heroes from there provided that emperor a great service.
Oh. Who was that?
Who's what?
I would ask him the names of the heroes.
Oh, he would tell you it was Saint Cain, Count Marlemere, and now King Titanbrook.
Oh, hey, you've met one of those. The Granite Backs have.
I think we met all
You've
of
met all of them
When?
Only
during the war.
What's his face?
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
that's
Remember,
right.
remember King gave us that week-long bless?
I also remember that Kane tried to res somebody
And
Did.
scolded us.
and
Right.
scolded
Yeah.
you for
And tried to help us not become fish people.
Yeah, but when she gave us the week-long bless, that's when we met the other people.
And
I do remember
provided
that.
us transportation to the Illusionary Broadcast Network.
She did that?
Sounds like
Yeah.
like King is actually putting in all the work.
Yeah, seriously.
Meanwhile,
Working their
Batman-
tail
Man,
off.
she's
Wizard
missing.
King Titanbrook is just over here counting his gold.
Someone's got to do it.
He's trying not to become a lich, okay?
Yeah, he's
And
trying real hard.
succeeding.
No, a lot of other groups have had a lot of interaction with King Titanbrook. You guys have got more action with Lady Kane until recently.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Count Marlemere has been the quietest of the group, and I need to change that. So get some NPC time in there over with the Count. So yeah, the ride back, it's pleasant. He tells you all sorts of fascinating stories about his country. And when this guy starts talking about something, it doesn't matter who's doing what or what's going on alongside of it. You could have Sodak juggling the kobolds and goblins, and it wouldn't be nearly as interesting as whatever this guy is saying. There is just something about the way he speaks and presents a story. And I mean, casual conversation is what it is, but when he starts to tell you something, it is, the man has attention. It is just something that naturally happens. Everybody focuses on him. And he just tells you...
Sodak was rolling his one eye while doing it.
Yeah, seriously. It wouldn't matter. You wouldn't even be nearly interested in what Sodak was saying. If Sodak was giving a doctorate level dissertation on the juggling of kobolds and goblins and what a great skill that is, you would not care. You just wouldn't. You'd be like, whatever, shut up, dude. The old man's talking. It's amazing. And it sounds like everything around him gets quieter, and the only thing that you can hear is him when he does it. you don't think that's actually happening, but that's the level of attention that his voice commands. Is that it just seems to drown everything else out. And he tells you about the current war going on in the Empire, and that the Emperor is leading their forces now across the sea back to the Hobgoblin homeland, and is pushing the invaders back to the brink of their own land, and is currently destroying their military fortifications in order to set them back decades before they could even think about raising their hand against him.
We have a few of people like that, the ogres. We have a few ogres that were a problem nearby here.
He is in the middle, kind of in the middle of this conversation. He tells you that stuff, and then you bring that up, and it's almost like somebody scratches a needle across the record. That is the shift in his demeanor. He seems very concerned by that. So that is most unusual. It is very far from their home to be here. Whatever could they be doing here?
You see, we aren't sure because we kind of botched it.
We absolutely did not botch it.
The clan did. This group didn't. However, our roles as us four human beings did.
No, they did pretty well.
They did really well until that final thing, and then it was botched, and and the chief got away. So he's very concerned by that. He's like, I will have to think on this for a long time to come up with plausible answers to this mystery. And then he goes back to telling a story, and it's just the same way it was. So you guys get back to the keep. He's fascinated by the keep. He thinks it's cool that it's up on a thing. He sees the head of the beast, and he's like, what is that thing? It is a beast!
Yeah.
That was Friday.
You must tell me the story of this Friday. It surely should be one to be retold with such a creature. And he's like, super animated.
I think I would attempt to
Jeffrey,
do
performance.
what he's doing. Yeah, I would attempt to do what he's doing.
Okay.
Can he have advantage with my persuasion?
Mm-hmm. He would honestly need you a little bit because he wasn't there for the event. So
Yeah, so Jeffrey's like just setting the background with some, oratory.
yeah.
While Mav gives out the speech.
The details.
Hey, could you?
Oh my gosh.
Mav, would you make a persuasion check for me?
I'm just gonna throw this out there. Apparently, Jeffrey has nothing but performance anxiety.
Oh, it's not better than Jeff's.
He's
So
just constantly hiding a boner or something. I don't know.
so you're
Mav has a 17.
You're trying to tell the story. You're trying to tell the story, Jeff, and aid in Mav's delivery. And the voice just at one point in time reaches out an old bony man finger and puts it on your lips, and he's like, "Shh, let the dwarf talk." And he turns all of his attention to Mav.
Wow.
And so you guys you're going up in the elevator, and he's staring more at the beast's head, and he's like, "That's truly impressive." Then he looks at Jeff. He's like, "You have a lot to learn." Is that a charisma saving throw to throw yourself out of the basket? To not
throw myself out of the rickshaw.
So you get up to the keep, you show him around, and show him to his room for the night, or nights, however long he stays. And then you let everybody know to let the neighbors know that you've arrived home, and the banquet will be in the next 2 days. And so a little bit of time passes. Jeff, you do spend a lot of time with this guy, and he's trying to teach you how to command a room.
Okay.
He's trying to teach you like real subtle things with inflection of voice and other things to keep you from blowing it. He tells you make good arguments and you tell good stories, but it's not always just in the information. He's like, there is a power behind your words that you've just begun to really experience, that you can get into more depths of and really truly expand on. And he teaches you some some moments, and then the day of the feast arrives. But before we get to that, let's talk about what happens in the days leading up to that. You got some followers out there. You got some people doing some stuff. We got to get to this business. So let's shift some gears here first. Let's go to our side groups. Now, you have a couple of side missions going on this week. You guys are gathered around your table, so you're kind of discussing what's going on with the people out there. You're talking to Orin, Hazani, Raki, and Skoog, and they let you know about what's happening in Ithacus. That it's kind of a crazy situation. They're like, it's really not something we expected to have to handle here, but apparently the first leader of the nation was put under some sort of curse and then banished to an area that nobody goes to. And some kids recently went there, and then now they've disappeared. And so,
and I don't want to make this too complicated, but is there a legitimate way to lift the curse?
They don't know. It has been so long, and when the curse was levied out, they don't know what she did to get cursed. And they don't know the mechanics of it. They just know that the area that she has been exiled to, it's on the other side of the island. It's far away from the cities, up in the more jungly area, the more tropical, wild area, has just been left. And that people who go there don't come back. And when adventurers, older people do it, that's one thing. But when youth do it, it becomes more problematic, and people are demanding an answer. So, but for whatever reason, there are no records of to the hows or to the whys of what happened.
Who do we have there?
Hazani, Skoog, right? Hazani,
Yep.
Skoog, Raki, and Orin?
Yep.
Is this something that they can take and do a day? To do some research?
Yeah, they would have some time to do that. But there's not much they're going to turn up.
Well, the reason I'm wondering is if Hazani would be able to get the material components to do legend lore. Because it's available to the clerics.
Yeah, it is.
And she was around Phil and Jeff both long enough to know that legend lore is a rather useful thing for esoteric
but is she
stuff
high
like
enough
this.
level for that? What level is it?
I don't know. It's legend lore is
It's a fifth, isn't
It's
it?
a fifth
is a
level
fifth
spell.
level divination. I don't know what level Hazani is.
Well, the followers work a little bit differently now, but I would say she's
Right.
at the point where that's probably a possibility. So yeah, let me make a roll to see how much actually comes about.
Mm-hmm.
So you come to find out that this woman apparently had plotted to betray the government that she helped found to the Kren Empire all those years ago. Back when the one emperor, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, was becoming a lich. They were forming a pact. And she was going to sell him the empire in exchange for eternal life. And she was cursed by the Council of Mages at the time in Ithacus and banished. They felt that was a more fitting punishment than executing her. So she can't die by natural means. They do believe she could be executed. This is the woman that has, to some degree, spawned a lot of Medusa legends in lore. It's a very similar story, but she is not a Medusa. She is something other than that.
Well,
That's good to know.
yeah, I guess.
It's way more than the Ithacans know. They've never bothered to do anything like that about it. They have just let it lie, and it's never been a problem until now.
I think they would probably try to be discreet with that. That group isn't the type to just out that, is it?
Hazani's not the type to just out that.
Yeah.
Orin probably not. Those other two, Racky and Skoog, they get up to clowning, and you never know what's
The
going to
lore
happen.
master.
They'd be like, "Give me some beers. I got a great story for you."
Yeah.
The lore masters.
So let's move on with that. Then you guys are armed with some of that information. So there's our setup for it. You head out to what they call now the Sacrificial Garden. You're led a good ways through the Ithacan wilderness by Ithacans, and your group gives a lot of respect now to these people. It's always been talked about how the Ithacans were like a more... They were great warriors like the Kren, but they liked talking more, and your group has witnessed that to some degree, but they're really very skilled people when it comes to combat and weaponry, and once you get out in the wild, they really display that. And so, who wants to make the first roll for the trip there?
Do they have mirrors available, by the way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would equip you with that.
Let's have them just carry that, just in case the petrification is something.
Okay. So the trip through there, your group doesn't get to show themselves off really at all. There's several things along the path that decide they would like to eat your team, but your guards handle it every time. And they don't do it to outclass you or to upshow you, but they let you know that it's their job. So that's a partial success in that. Oh, what are you doing? Why did it do that? Okay. And so then you get closer to the area, and they point you on ahead. And out ahead of you is a huge ridge. It's not quite a cliff, but it's definitely a steep rise, and then it flattens out again. And the whole place, a lot like everything on Krenshad, the continent is encased in mountains, and you can see the mountains and back, but there's definitely an elevated area. Going up higher, the jungle thins itself out some, but it's still pretty thick. And they tell you that's the garden. And so now you guys need to scout the area. So this is a nature-ish check, which your group isn't really very nature-ish based. But that's a good roll. So that's a success. They scout the area, and they do immediately begin to find statues of people. And the state that these people in, they are definitely petrified people. They're pretty common throughout the area here. I wouldn't say the place is swarming with them, but there's quite a few of them. And so as you guys are creeping up, you see something moving up in the distance. And so it's a successful scout. What was it? It's a 15 total. It's humanoid in shape, but it moves on all fours.
Do we have them like try to use their mirrors?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys sneak up on it, and the creature turns on your guys, and it starts to look at them, and it's a cross between a woman and a minotaur, except it is covered in banded metal. It looks like it's made of metal.
Oh.
And there's all this green gas like leaking out of its face. And so it runs at your group with two very large hammers, and it makes a very metallic-y bovine roar. And as it opens its mouth, all the banding flexes, and there's all this blue light and piping running underneath it. And you guys are now going to be in a fight with this. You have mirrors, so you are prepared for that. That turns out real good because your team is a battle-ready team. So that is a success. They defeat the creature, and as she's defeated, they manage to use their mirrors effectively to avoid gazes, which she attempts to gaze at them several times. But Hazani is almost turned to stone at one point in time where this creature had a breath weapon as well.
Oh, no.
So it breathed a cloud that paralyzed everybody, or slowed everybody to some degree, and Hazani started to turn to stone, but you killed it quick enough to where she did not transform. And as it dies, all the banding unravels, and the inside of this creature is almost completely mechanical, with these strange blue tubes and lighting and this weird blue fluid running through it. And I don't think you guys have seen soul fluid. A few of you guys in the world know about it, but this isn't it. This is different. And there is a lot of electricity crackling around it.
Did we see anything similar in the outer space?
You did not. You saw some mechanical stuff. That's where you guys would have seen soul fluid. Yeah, because the engine of the dustbin was soul fluid. Yeah. This is not it. This is very different. But it does look like there's something inside of it.
Like a person?
I don't know. Do you guys want to rip it open?
Thoughts, Adam?
Yeah, have him break it open.
That's right. Adam can't.
Nope.
It's not there.
So, make a...
Adam can't because he doesn't have that skill.
Make a roll.
Janet can.
Right.
Is
Oh, this is me.
It's a D20 roll, and I will add... That's good. That's a success as well. So you crack this sucker open. Your people start pulling it apart, realizing that there is indeed a humanoid inside of there, and there's a woman, and she's old and withered beyond reason, but she's hooked into this machinery, and she has all these tubes going into her, and her eyes have long since basically leaked out of her head. And where her throat is, there is this thrumming crystal, and inside of that, you can see, you're pretty sure is a younger version of her that appears to be sitting in a library reading room of sorts, and she's just reading a book.
Is this the traitor?
I would say from legend lore, I think Hazani would be able to put together that this is probably her.
And she's in solitary confinement, but seems to be enjoying herself.
It looks that way, but this contraption that she was put in, you feel like that in the crystal it might be her soul. Yeah. And her body was trapped inside of this machine.
That could be remarkably valuable to her people.
I mean, would it? I don't know if it would.
I meant historically speaking.
I know, but I don't think they would use it. That's what I'm saying.
Not use it, but they might put it on display if they still respect this woman.
I don't think they do. That's the issue.
No, I feel like they do, or they would have come here to kill themselves. They respect this woman because they didn't know traitor.
And if we explain the situation from how we understand it, they may want to display it, if that makes sense.
You guys can choose the option to take it back or inform them of what you found. You do know that they consider this plateau fairly, almost sacred. Not really sacred, but it's got that kind of feel to it where they just don't go here out of respect and reverence to this place. And some of it is akin to fear.
Did they have that respect and awe prior to this event?
No. I mean, after the banishment, it kind of built and became normal.
Yeah, and there's really no reason to change their history. Hazani, with her cleric abilities, would she be able to communicate with this soul?
No.
Okay.
Whatever kind of crystal thing she's encased in is way past her pay grade.
Did you say with her clerical abilities?
Yeah, her clerical abilities, her secretarial skills.
Not
can she schedule a meeting with this soul? Yeah. your camera is frozen on my screen, and you have the goofiest look.
It's frozen 4 or 5 times, and each one of them.
Oh come on! I was about to get a screenshot of that.
Well, you can't now. Sorry about that.
Dude, you had 10 minutes to get a screenshot.
Yeah.
Well, it would help if I was paying attention. I was trying to find a picture of a clerical ability.
The truth comes out.
So I would just call this at. Do you A, bring it back, B, just tell them what you found, or C, just let them know the problem's been dealt with?
I say we. I say we let them know the problem has been dealt with, and if they are curious, we.
Give them the option of knowing more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I kind of get the feeling that they don't want to know.
They want to know if it's ever going to be a problem again.
Right. And we'd say it's not going to be a problem again.
Yep.
Okay.
So if it's not going to be a problem again, do they want to know any more of what happened or why or whatever? I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like, how do you know it's not going to be a problem? You know what I mean?
It's true.
Would they feel like in this that she got what she wanted with immortality?
Sort of.
Because her soul is just hanging out in the library.
Yep.
Which is what it'll be doing forever unless somebody intervenes.
Yep.
Can they bring her soul back to the Grantback Keep?
They could.
I guess I just wonder what happens if they separate the soul container
From the body. I mean, if that's the option you guys want to try, it might change the result of what you end up telling the people. But you can definitely try and pull that out.
Well, because I'm concerned that because they said she just would regenerate. No.
Well, but her body does, not necessarily.
I know, that's what I'm saying. If we
Let's
keep
unplug it.
her soul connected, her head, I almost said. If we keep her head in a jar connected to the rest of her body, would the body just regenerate back into this armored thing and just cause more problems?
Yes.
So let's separate it.
Megan just singing in the background is absurd, by the way.
Oh, is that Megan doing that? I was like, somebody's having a good time. That's my concern. That I would want to separate the body from the soul, but the question is whether or not that would kill her.
You can certainly try and pull it.
Do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Do it.
So as your team pulls the gem out, the machinery begins to rust and crumble and fall apart. The body instantly ashes, but the gem remains the same. It is just a woman trapped in a crystal.
Does she look concerned?
No, but as your team rotates the crystal around, it gets a different view of her, and it looks like she is in a cylinder room. It's maybe 60 feet tall, and it's just books.
Man, Thanak wants that.
How big is this gem?
Fist-sized. It was big enough to take up the area of your throat. It was embedded in her esophagus, basically.
Okay.
So there's that. So your team goes back. The Senate is thrilled that you report success. You let them know that there are dozens of statues out there of people who've trespassed. You did see ones that were very fresh that looked like young people. So if their clerics wanted to go to the plateau now that it was safe, they could probably restore some of these people.
Very good.
They pay you 2,500 gold for your endeavor, and you guys go home with the
gem.
The gem.
Soul gem. I would like, when she gets a moment, I would like to notify Mary Lee about it and see if the mages over there can have any.
Oh, she would love to get her hands on that thing. She's very excited. She says, "You bring me the best presents."
Yeah, well.
So let's talk about what happens with Cadmus this week. He gets hired to basically be the bodyguard of a summit where the smaller towns without larger militaries in the north are being harassed by Cavasto, which is the one that blockaded itself and built up the big military right away. They're being preyed upon by them, and they're kind of done with it. So there's a thing going on here. that they're meeting together. Is there any setup you guys want to do as you go into this?
Could Cadmus kind of get a good feel of all the players that are involved?
Yep, that's actually the first part of the skill checks. Any other prep that we want to do?
Just make sure he's dressed nice.
Okay. He's a noble, so he would know how to go to something like this. He'd do it right. All right, so Mav, they assess the room, and this team is pretty good at insight. There's a cleric and 2 paladins in this group, so they're pretty good at insight.
I didn't necessarily mean like insight of the group once they're there. I meant like ahead of time figuring out, okay, the formalities of who's coming and any traditions that they might have created in the short term.
All right, I'll let you make that roll at advantage then. So you guys they do their homework going into this, knowing all the players and what's going on. So it's still a good roll, though. It's still a success. So Cadmus assesses the room. The folks from Mariasi came prepared for a fight. Not Mariasi, Copanis. Copanis is the southern town. Mariasi is the one you own the bar in. So it's Illinois, Copanis, and Cavasto, and they're kind of on that lower swath now that Krenshad is a ruin. The Copanis guys came dressed for a fight. They're in armor and weapons. That really takes Cadmus back because it's unusual for their people to come to a meeting like that. But it's there. The meeting goes on, and something in the tone starts to change, and then you hear they hear shouting from outside, and there is an angry mob of local people who've been harassed by Cavasto that is formed outside, and your team needs to try to diffuse the situation. So give me a diffusal roll, whoever's next.
I think it's me.
Ooh, that's real good. That's real good. That, with their charisma, is going to be a triumph.
This was a triumph.
So your team triumphs. My wife is home. What's up, Lynn? So your team triumphs over the situation. Super cool. They dismiss the crowd. It's one of those things. They're all out there angry, and they all got their rotten vegetables and pitchforks and tar. And Cadmus sticks his head out the door and goes, "Go home." And they're like, "Okay." They just turn around and leave.
Is it like when everybody stormed Jesse Ventura when he was the...
Yeah, so he told them all to go get jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just were like, "Oh, okay."
That's totally what happens. So
Go get jobs.
when the guards, when your guys come back into the meeting room, there is definitely a different presence in the meeting room. So now I want to make an insight check as to what has happened here.
Oh no!
They don't get it.
Nope, that is a failure.
Yeah, it is.
So that's a little bit of a failure. Oh, that's interesting that it did that.
Failure in my life.
A little bit. Not a little bit.
Okay, I'm just gonna do it this way. So, all right.
Like,
so they come back in,
like,
and they're still.
someone like really close to you died. It's like, what's going on? Someone died?
Yes.
Smells like somebody died in here.
Yeah.
Yep. So they come back in and they are completely unprepared for what happens. They didn't pick up on any of the clues coming, unfortunately. In the middle of the negotiations, one of the people from Cavasto transforms into a horned devil and begins attacking everybody else there.
That is inappropriate use.
Yep, and so now you're going to have to make a combat roll, which your team is good at, but it is at disadvantage because of the failure from before.
Even with a paladin?
Boom. That's still an 11.
Even with a paladin. I mean, we can only do so much with these. We don't bring all their skills into play. We just kind of
I know.
give bonuses. So even with 11, that is going to be a success because you have 2 paladins, a cleric, and a fighter in this group. So this is a very combat-heavy group.
And it's a demon.
Yes. So it's still going to qualify as a success. So
All of the smites.
your boys managed to fight it off. None of the people from Cavasto were human. They were all fiends in disguise. And so immediately at the end of that, it was really weird way.
Did you say all the people from Cavasto, the military town that had
blockaded
shot Filbert?
Yep.
That's what he said.
They were okay.
Yeah, that's deep. That's a lot to deal with.
That is a lot to deal with, and immediately the delegates from Elenos and Copanis begin to talk about protecting themselves and the possibility of war. They were kind of together to begin with, so now they're like, now what do we do? And they're basically like, we do what Kren always do, is we fight. And this becomes kind of an issue because there have been multiple incursions of demonic activity in Elenos and Copanis and other towns around this area of the continent, and they're all now blaming Cavasto.
As they should.
So, your boys are paid 500 gold for a very successful event.
Would the guild be interested in assisting them in their endeavors?
They will likely be hired for that. That is...
Because the group would probably offer to assist knowing that they're demons.
Yeah, I would think so too. So that's put out there, and they are informed that they will be receiving more contracts in the near future.
We should tell Lady Kane. I'm sure she'll want to help.
I'm sure she can't.
Is she busy with other demons right now?
A little bit. She's busy with the big boy. It was a very epic moment.
Where is she?
She's in the middle of Avernus right now, pretty much duking it out one-on-one with Asmodeus.
Excellent.
Yep. He doesn't get to keep her, but he gets to fight her until she's unwilling to fight him anymore.
I mean, that could take a while.
That's like eternity.
That was the deal that was struck so that everybody else could get out.
Okay, I don't know any of this. That's excellent. It's
on Discord.
Yeah, I put it in.
Do you not read Discord?
Oh, it was somebody. It was different groups.
It was the different groups, but they had dealings with her in the last two outings.
Wow.
Her in the garden. It was when I asked you if they'd be in on that. Yep.
That's what I thought, but I didn't hear anything else of what actually happened with that.
Nothing good.
Yeah, that kind of a deal with Lady Kane is it's almost along the same lines as Doctor Strange making that deal.
Yeah, it kind of is.
This isn't really going to work out the way you think it's going to work out.
Well, part of it too is I think Asmodeus kind of knew that's the way it was going to go, and he was very much looking forward to beating on her for a long time. Without ever having met her, she's caused him a lot of headache.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's fine with that.
All right, so there's what happens with that guy. With that, that's how that's going to resolve itself. There's going to obviously be more to come with that. So let's talk. Let's bounce over to your cavern crew. So your blokes going through the Granite Back Caverns, and so where would you guys like to go next?
I say we continue along the path. I'm trying to look for that.
I was actually just going to copy and paste it into here.
I was just going to say continue on.
Yeah.
Actually, this one.
Boing.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
From the steam vents.
Yeah, you can go north or further south from the steam vents.
Do we want to...
South.
You want to go south?
Wait, which way? Which way? Was the jerk that's causing us troubles with the river?
He was south, but you do feel like you've probably drifted too far east to be under his territory now.
All right, let's go back up to the lake and go south from there.
Okay. That sound like what you guys want to do?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Like to figure out how to get underneath that guy's keep.
Right on. Area. What
is
is
the drow to do it?
What
just
is over there?
Shove it full of dynamite.
Yes, please. We'll use the Hippo Man for what he's good for.
Okay.
Smoke powder.
Smoke powder. We'll explode something. Don't you worry about that. I've got it under
Something. We're
control.
gonna explode some things.
Okay. So you guys follow the river that branches out of the lake on that end, on that southwest end, and it moves. The river goes down. This one does not descend like it did for the steam vents. There was a definite drop in the steam vent tunnel. This one is more static. As a matter of fact, maybe even rises a little bit as the river starts to cut down into a trickle. You don't think it's gone up much, but perhaps just enough to kind of staunch that flow. And then you come into an area where the ground starts to get very soft, and the water disperses out into a cavern, and it is a giant bubbling mud pit. There's also water dripping in from the ceiling on a very regular basis, but looking at the ceiling here and the way the mud is bubbling here, you think this is all a new event. Maybe not the geothermic activity that's causing the mud to bubble, but the water dripping from the ceiling, there aren't enough stalactites for that to have been doing this for very long.
It's because of the flooding up top and the feeding through of the fields.
Do we know why? I feel like maybe this was explained a while ago, but what caused the fissure in our keep in the first place? Was
Earthquake.
it just our digging?
You do believe that it was a combination of a mild tremor, which the Southern Empire is prone to, and there being more weight above the cavern where the towers were that caused the collapse.
So do we think the tremor earthquake might be related to this, what we're seeing?
It is possible because the geothermic activity seems newer.
Right.
It is possible. The water, though, you do think is probably closer to what your team would think, that because position-wise, you're probably underneath the dam itself where the lake has formed to divert the water.
Mm-hmm.
And that the surface is not nearly as far up as, like, from the roof of this cavern as you think. And then you start to think back about the way the stream continued, but there was still water in it. Yeah, this is probably right underneath the dam area.
Okay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How far is it from where this area is back to our keep?
Mile-wise, it's probably about 7-8 miles. It's closer to 15 with the way you guys have traveled underground, but it's because the passages turn and bounce around a little bit. Directionally, it's about 7-8 miles.
Are you thinking about creating an underground river back to our keep?
Yeah. What about what if we use the poop pit technology
Oh.
and just make one of those portals?
And just transport it over to our keep?
Yeah.
Are you going to drill a hole in this guy's lake?
We're not going to drill a hole.
We're
We're
gonna
We're gonna blow a hole.
We're gonna smash a hole. No, we're gonna make a tactical incision into the bottom of the lake that it drains it and goes back into.
Okay, that will require a little bit of investment, but it's definitely a solution to the current problem.
And he may never even know that it exists. If we make a small enough hole.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so in.
It's never gonna stay like that, though.
Okay.
That doesn't matter.
So, while...
Oh my gosh. This is so...
And we'll leave a little note on the portal hole that just says you could have just answered the summons.
I almost spit all over my computer.
I know, I watched you.
Okay. And so, by an interesting turn of events, too, you're pretty sure from what you know about Kren land rights, because the cavern entrance is on your property, that this is still yours.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Until there is but you do run the risk, because if you create a physical entrance on his property, then the rights could be contested.
What if we plant a flag? Is that how that works, or no?
I'm just saying it becomes much more contentious.
Do we feel like we could thin it enough to not to create a hole, but enough to where more water would come through?
What if we just put like the poop catcher on the top of the bottom of the lake, and it drained it? We drained the sewage into a swamp and into our land.
Because the lake isn't our property.
Yep.
Right, because if he blows a hole, if he makes a hole, then he's trespassing, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
If he forces his way in, but
so
if you
make it,
if you make a passage onto his property.
Okay, so if we weaken it enough that it breaks into our thing,
then it would appear, if it appears like a natural problem, or if you've done it, then you have breached his land, or the land has given him an entrance.
Yeah, we don't.
So we don't want it. Ooh, what if we make the explosion in his lake to make it look like he, in fact,
we don't
try to gain entry into ours?
We don't want this to.
No, but I think we do need to make it look like he.
No,
yes,
we don't.
Because...
No, we don't. Here's. If this is just a small little area where the water's leaking, we leave it like that and just put a portal underneath it to.
How much water is leaking?
A sizable amount. It's leaking from all over the place.
Like a river amount.
If it were focused and funneled, maybe.
Oh. Okay.
My concern would be that we leave it as is, and naturally it breaks through.
Mm-hmm.
It would then be his ability to contend. But if
it would still be our land. It would still be our.
No, because he would then have a natural hole into our cavern.
Yep. If it happens naturally.
Go ahead.
If it happens naturally, he'll have cavern rights, because it's naturally happened on his land. If you force it into his land, then you've breached his land that he still owns. He gets rights. If it happens naturally, then it is the land making a decision, and he gets rights.
So
what we need is for him to breach our land, so that he doesn't have rights, and we get the wall.
So we need to give him a reason to breach it.
Let's send him a treasure map.
Gold.
Well, no, he is breaching the land. He is breaching the land by putting too much water.
That was my question, Mike. Was if we can prove that him building the dam caused the breach into our cavern, does that count as him breaching our land?
That might be our first exercise into actual D&D legalities in the world. We might have to go to court.
Need a D&D lawyer.
Hold on.
Does anybody know anybody?
I do. His name is Jerry.
There are lawyers out there you could hire.
Is this the I know a guy?
Before we do anything, I would want to mount a legal case for if the cavern naturally opened up.
Not naturally. This isn't natural. This is him building a dam.
You know what I mean? His dam causing a natural, quote unquote, entrance into our.
Natural.
Yeah, Mr. Contract paperwork.
Okay,
hey,
so
you're specific with your words.
All right, you guys.
Policy.
You guys sitting at your adventuring table start on a couple of different options and paths, and you talk it out a little bit. And while that's happening, Matthias says, "We'll have to get right back to you." And you guys are going to need to deal with the giant swarm of mud methods that have come up out of these vents and started to attack your adventuring team down there.
Yeah. Mike, before
Oh, that's good.
I already rolled a 14, no thing. So you're 14 go to the next one.
Cool.
Would that qualify as far as what I already sent out feelers for with Jeffrey on the I know a guy? Would that qualify into this, or would that be separate?
We could feel that in. Exactly. What did you want to do with your I know your guy? Because I forgot you did that.
I had used my spy contact to find out if there was anything that we could get on this guy as far as either or leverage.
Totally. Thank you.
I didn't know if this could work into that.
Thank you for doing that for me. So your team deals with the mud miffits, and they begin to explore the cavern. So, and I got my roll window covered up. So you both made rolls. Is that what I'm hearing? And you both rolled 14s. Yeah. Okay. So as they begin to explore, they do find some interesting veins of minerals that pop up. There's some iron and some copper, nothing overly valuable, but in areas where the mud hasn't overtaken the cavern yet, it looks like there's a lot of mineral push up from whatever is now underneath all this mud. So you guys find some possibilities for further enterprise under here. And then we'll do this. Jeffrey, your contact comes back. Because I forgot you did that. I meant to plan this out. And here's what I was thinking. And this is what's going. I would have if I had remembered it, but my week is crazy week at work, so I didn't remember it. This is immediately what I thought last week. Your spy comes back. They initiated, knowing the situation, they initiated a little nighttime perusal of the estate, so to speak. And they found some really interesting documents and then they went and checked on the veracity of these claims. There is not nearly as much water being diverted to the farm fields as there are to the storage behind this dam. And the dam is very poorly constructed from an engineering standpoint unless you want it to break.
Oh.
Is he trying to cause a...
He's trying to frame us.
Your contact would think he's more trying to wash you out.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about, is he's trying to get the water to come out like it did in Wisconsin Dells. And blow through all of our land.
Oh. Oh, no.
Wait, what happened in Wisconsin Dells?
Flooded.
A lot of flooding.
It took out, like, an entire city.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a while ago now.
Yeah.
2008, I think.
One of the dams broke and...
No, not a dam. It actually just went over the highway.
It went over the
levee?
wherever the outside of the dam is.
Oh, yeah. The containment area.
That.
It breached the dam.
Yeah. And then it caused that to fail, which caused it to go...
Yep.
Yeah. There's an entire documentary on it. It's actually really cool.
I'll watch it. Thank you.
So, you guys now know that not Gavril. What's this dude's name? Maybe it is Gavril.
No.
It's not Gavril. That's one of your... Galvin.
Yeah.
Galvin is planning on killing everybody in your village by letting this dam burst when the water piles up too deeply behind it.
Are we able to obtain those documents?
They will be delivered.
Have them?
They will be delivered to you shortly.
Okay.
So I would say by the time we wrap this up, you would have those documents.
We need to poke that hole, guys. We definitely need to poke that.
Yeah, but
let him keep his wasted money. Let him keep and his wasted stuff. But I think we need to not poke a hole. I think we need to thin it enough that we can lower the water level without there being a...
The problem with that, though, is if you dump all that water down into the cavern, then there never is a river again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
Yep.
Okay.
Because it will all flow into the cavern.
Okay. No, we'll have to deal with this.
Do we get a sense of whether the cavern or the dam floor or the dam itself which one is likely to break first?
You don't. Not without some pretty serious investigation and the right kind of people down there, and you do not have the right kind of people down there.
Let's go. Yeah.
No. Oh, what do we do with this? Because this is no longer.
Are we having like the feast like tonight?
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we need to talk to our allies and tell them we need to bust down.
Yeah,
this guy's
explain kind of what's going on.
Yeah, like what we found.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So as your team is kind of securing the area and moving out, they find on the walls something very interesting. They find what appears to be, it's not a map per se, but it's a trail marker to some degree. It looks like somebody drew down here, and it's carved pretty deeply into the wall. It was almost missed. But it looks like somebody drew like what they believe to be their walking path. And it looks really long because one of the areas that is labeled on there, and none of your team can read this, but later on when it's displayed to you, it says lake on it. And then the trail goes to this room after going to the lake and then ends here. Because obviously whoever made this path made it to here and then moved on, but you don't know where to.
Right.
Ooh, that's no bueno.
Jeez, it's crazy.
Yep, it was a thing. I remember that. So that's where that is at. You guys found that.
Oh.
Okay, so we need to figure out whether it's better to use the
logistically,
catcher or
how quickly would we even be able to get that installed?
Not quick enough, I don't think. Because that technology is expensive for one.
It's something that is afforded to a large city. Like you guys don't even have that in your keep yet.
No.
multi-purpose.
And this is an experimental use of it. We have no idea if it's capable of handling that kind of flow.
Oh, believe me, if it can handle the flow over.
Yeah.
It handled a Thanax flow after drinking that water.
Yeah.
The maintenance water.
Yep. All right. So I am going to share a document with you guys. And this will be something you guys can just re-reference when you need to. It is a graph of your adventures.
Oh, that's cool.
I decided I'm going to start doing it this way. It's a little wonky the way it allows me to paste stuff in on Fantasy Grounds when there's a table involved. But,
yeah. Hey, wasn't there a treasure map somewhere too? Didn't somebody come across a treasure map?
The pirate crew did last week, and they recovered
Oh,
it.
that's right. Grummy took a log to the face.
Yep. And you found out that the goblin once again beat you to the treasure.
I hate that goblin.
Sorry, can we all just appreciate part 3 of the last one? Where we found the damn issues.
And part 2 and part 3 of the one before are mixed up, but copying and pasting out of a table in Fantasy Grounds is really dumb. It'll just break a bunch of stuff.
I'm just glad we found the damn issues.
Yeah.
You did find the damn issues. So we will add to that every week. I'll set it up to do this. Yep. All right. So you guys have a bunch of people at your keep that evening. Party goes as expected. Everybody's having a good time. It's a lot of people you know and have come to meet. And you drop the news on them. Who wants to drop the news?
I would like to have
definitely
our Herald.
I would like to ask the voice to show me how to properly do this, how to properly drop this bombshell.
Okay. I will be honored to do so. I will try to speak in the vernacular of your people. he stands up and he's like, guests, friends, and allies. Some summer beach from down south has built a dam. And is going to flood everybody. They're all going to die. And everybody's in an uproar. They're all like, what? No, this means war. Blah, blah, blah. And they're all angry about it. And
I almost lost my crap when you started saying that.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cast Wester's Restoration.
And then he sits down.
Filbert, I need you to roll a performance. Nope, definitely Filbert.
Oh, Filbert's here. Filbert shows up for this.
It's so he gets everybody riled up and on your sides, and they don't even care that it's some foreign old guy just yelling about this stuff. They're all angry now. And he sits down and he's like, you see, Jeff, it doesn't matter what the words you use, it's how you present.
True.
I could have told them they stole a piece of toast and they'd all be ready to kill one another.
Oh, I need to learn these skills.
You sure this isn't your guy to get you to level 12?
This is the guy to get him to level 12.
Oh, this is, okay.
This is his guy.
Yeah.
So everybody gets riled up, and they all, as the evening ends, they're all committed to dealing with this threat as a threat now. And so we will resolve that next week. And then the voice says, Philbert, there's one last thing you must do, and I will help you get there before I go to Barovia. He's like, are you ready?
Yeah. I guess I am.
Your friends may come with you if you feel the need of their assistance, which you probably do. Yes, you should bring their friends. You will die if you don't bring friends.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna turn to them, and I'm going to humbly ask, because this is, I think, the first time where Jeffrey's actually asking for them, because he has presented himself as their servant, more or less.
Yeah.
And this would be the first time where he's going to actually ask the Granite Backs if he can hire them.
Brian's not okay.
Oh,
Matt pulls out a contract.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the contract says, but Jeff, you have.
It's just our standard liability insurance, deposit costs, things like that.
Yeah.
And on the cost line, I would simply put the not indenturement of Jeffrey, but the payment that he would be giving would be his royalties, basically. His rights for intellectual property.
Jeez. Okay. So you sign your stuff away. You guys make the agreement, and then the voice sits down. He's like, "Have you ever heard of the Bardic Shrines?"
No.
There are 5 that exist in the universe. Various places. They are all accessed through the prime material, depending on your version of that, but they exist outside of the material. You must visit one of these.
Okay.
Bards who desire to become legendary will visit all 5, but those of us who understand that being famous isn't all that it's cracked up to be, there's really only 1, maybe 2 we will visit in our lifetime. I want you to visit the Shrine of the Voice.
All right.
And he says, conveniently enough, it's not far from here, and it's kind of, well, it's on my way, so you can drop me off, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Wait, where he's going is on the way, or
where he's going is on the way.
So we have to go through New Barovia.
Yeah, you have to go to Setnovia.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
For you guys, it will be a decent trip unless you want to call upon Fazragul to get you there quickly. But that will mean taking the voice with you on the squid boat.
Yeah,
Is there
I think
a
we should.
need to be quick?
I mean,
I think
you have a war to fight with your southern neighbor next week.
Yeah.
I suppose we should probably be quick.
Well, I'm wondering if we or he can get me access to a teleportation circle in New Barovia, because I know Adams had some people there. I don't know if Marilee has any contacts there, or if we have any rights to teleport there.
Marilee would be able to get you to the Mage's Tower in southern Setnovia in the swamp, but that sucker's a pain to get in and out of, so it's almost faster to not go there.
Okay.
Other than that, probably not.
I didn't know if is it Diovuna had one?
Diovuna does not have one.
Okay.
They're barely into like town size. Ryan is still cracking up.
I'm trying not to. I'm really trying.
What if we? I mean, this is based on an assumption that may not happen, but would we, if we're going to New Barovia, would we be able to get a teleportation circle there?
There is a Mage's Tower. I forgot about that. There is a Mage's Tower in the past between Setnovia and New Barovia.
Yep, that was the one I was actually wondering about.
Yeah, I totally forgot. Titanbrook's Tower there is there.
Yep.
So you would likely be able to get the teleportation circle to there. You could go to Marilee. She could get you there.
Okay.
And
So
then it
that
would
might be something that we want to do is go there
Yep.
and then teleport back to fight a, and then teleport to New Barovia after we take care of Galvin, and then make the rest of the way to Setnovia.
I should
Does that make
probably
sense?
do this before we deal with that.
Do we have time to do that?
If we teleport.
Yeah, if you teleport, you'd have time.
How far is the teleportation circle in New Barovia from Setnovia?
Not far,
No,
because
not
it's actually on the border, and then you'd be able to hop a boat, sail across that giant lake, and you'd get right to where you need to be within another 2 days.
Oh, okay.
And then we can teleport back. So we can. We
Okay.
should do that. Yeah.
So let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that, and then we'll, while we are gone, we will have. We'll also take our bears.
I was seriously just about to say the most important question of this whole thing is: are you taking your bears?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we should.
All right. So you pile your bears into the teleportation circle, and it's tight. It's a ridiculous thing, and the voice thinks it's funny. He's like, "Oh, you bring all your bear, but I don't have any room for rickshaw. Oh boy, who pull it?"
The bears will.
And so he laughs about it. He's like, "Okay, it's okay. I'll pick him up when I come home." And so you guys teleport to Marilee. The mages are all there, and they're like, "What the heck, bears?" And she's like, "You actually did it.
Yeah.
You
The
actually
griffins are next.
did it."
The griffins are next.
So you guys have your bears. She sends you on to Setnovia. You come down through Titanbrook's Mage's Tower. You're escorted out of there by people who are assigned to you by them. You don't know any of these people. You're really only tolerated to be there because Marilee sent you there. Jeff, they will not allow you to learn this circle.
Okay.
Yep. You're not a mage. I mean, you could try and snatch a glance at it, but it's really complex.
Yeah. I will be respectful.
Okay. So
Just remember, Titanbrook's almost a lich.
I don't know that.
So you're taken out of the tower. You mount up your bears. The voice goes the other way, and this old man just starts walking down this long mountain road to Barovia. And he's like, Don't worry about me. I'll be fine, I guess." And he just kind of walks off. Somehow you get the feeling that this man is going to have no problems at all. As a matter of fact, he's probably going to hitchhike the first ride that comes past him.
That's what I'm saying. Can we get him a horse or something?
Make a persuasion check with the mages.
No, I mean buy a horse.
Yeah.
They have limited resources. I mean, they have a lot of resources, but they don't keep a lot of extra horses around. Yeah, make a persuasion.
Maybe I should not be the one doing this, but it's too late.
It's too late.
You'd have aid.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Plus or whatever.
So at 11, you're just walking through this tower going, could somebody get this guy a horse? He's going to walk all the way to the garden. I don't even know where that is, but horse, right? Give me a horse.
He's old.
He's got a horse. He's old. Let me make a counter roll here. What do I got? Oh, they're all like, oh, no, we can't spare any of the horses at all. And you look, and there's just a stable full of them.
Man, mages are wankers.
Yeah. And they're all watching, and there's a couple of them are like, maybe we should give him a horse. Did you see those bears? These guys ride bears. We should just give him a horse. And so you get down to the bottom of the tower.
They think a bear is inferior to a horse.
No, they're afraid. They're afraid of these bears.
It's awesome that we ride bears.
So this one guy who is really enamored by your bears, he's like, hey, I don't have a horse, but I got this mule out back. And the voice is like, oh, the mule will be spectacular. And he just climbs up on top of it, and the mule just kind of clops off at the same pace this guy would have walking. And and the voice and the donkey just head off into the east.
The sunset.
Yeah. Even though it's the east, but it's still the sunset. You guys cross over into Setnovia, hop a boat, sail across the lake. 2 days later, you are at the area where Jeff was told the shrine is. It takes you a bit to find it, but you find this long, narrow stairway carved into the side of a mountain. It looks very natural until you get right up alongside of it. And you're like, oh, this is actually stairs that wrap up to the top of a mountain.
All right. That's imposing.
You begin to climb.
Yeah.
And half a day later, you get to the top, and there is an archway carved into the side of this mountain. And coming out of it, it sounds like a harp is playing.
Oh, how cool. Is there any iconography here at all, or any words?
Mm-mm. Just the sound of a harp.
Have we ever experienced the celestial language?
I don't think you guys have, actually.
I would ask Thanok if he'd be willing to cast comprehend languages just to see if there's anything here trying to speak to us.
Before he does that, do I recognize anything as it's playing or speaking?
You do not. It is just music.
You speak celestial?
Yeah, he read it in the labyrinth.
I don't remember.
Yep.
So then,
yeah, because you weren't there.
Oh, that was when Filbert was there? Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I will, I guess, ask it, and we'll proceed on as long as everyone's all right with it.
it's fine with me.
Yeah.
So you guys head into the cavern as the map begins to pop up here.
Jeff's going to look at Mav and be like, so what do you need to do to...
What do I need to what?
Who do you need to find to reach...
I had to go find some...
I think it's somebody who's
temple,
out
I
here.
think.
No, he needs to go to somewhere in Shamsburg.
Jamesburg, that's where it was.
Yep. So you guys enter into the cavern, and it's not a natural cave. You pick up on that right away, even though it's got some of that feel to it. It's definitely been carved out. And it feels even less and less natural when suddenly you're walking along, and it doesn't seem to have a moment where it happens. It just is now the way it is.
Oh.
You are in a village square. like the corner of a village area, and there are people milling about everywhere, and they're all complaining about, what do? We don't have any food. We're all starving to death. Let's go burn down the Baron's castle, and we'll steal all of his food. And there's a near riot brewing here.
Normally we just let these things happen, right? And like I look at the guys and be like, you guys normally just let people riot, right?
I mean, this is your job. You tell us what to do.
I would like to intervene.
Okay.
Let's intervene.
We should show some.
We're still riding on our bears, right?
Yep.
I think that's intervention enough.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, these people seem to pay no attention to your bears.
Do they see us at all? Like,
They do pay attention to you as individuals, but they don't seem put off by the fact at all that you're riding bears. We're wearing
I might
bears.
poke my bear to make sure it's still there.
Bears still
Culturally,
there?
do they look like a culture we would recognize?
They look like Kren, even though the environment is a little bit different.
If I make a history check, would I be able to glean anything from like the architecture or what they're wearing or
If this is
anything?
an event,
Go for it. Make a history check.
you can have advantage.
Oh.
Hey, baby.
All right, so that's going to be very good. Even no matter what you roll next, it's going to be spectacular. It's good. Yeah, it's a
Very nice.
34. So, Fanak, you begin to put some stuff together. You are definitely in some sort of illusionary environment that seems to be drawing from your memories. The corner of the square you're in is very similar to the little village where you hired the boat to get you across the lake. But the people are definitely Krenish people, and they look like people you've seen recently in the streets. So whatever this thing is doing, it's pulling information from you. And so when people are looking at you, they don't care if there's bears there or not. That's not the point. They're looking at you as an individual.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's present ourselves. I will. Does it look like there's anybody leading this rabble, or if there's any stirring up the crowd?
Yeah, there's a couple of them that definitely seem to be in charge.
I would like to, with the four of us, surround them and kind of separate them from the crowd.
Okay.
And kind of place ourselves between them and the crowd.
Okay.
So wait, if this is illusionary, are they illusionary too?
The people?
Yeah.
You suspect they are because of how much they look like people you've just seen. Like with that history check, like one of them looks just like the messenger that brought the voice into the room, and others of them look like the people you saw screaming in the streets when Bonkers was slaughtering the Kren guards.
This is a test of our ability. My ability? Like, you guys are here, so it's a test of our ability, and it's probably my ability to utilize those that are within my presence, within my bardic ability. So I'm going to take a moment, and I'm actually going to give out bardic inspiration to each of the guys.
Okay.
Mav is going to ask Jeffrey if we have the chance to relive all of his stage fright incidences.
Don't piss in my Cheerios right now, bro.
I'll just look over at Mav and like, we're gonna.
Mav does not get bardic inspiration.
I already checked the box.
Don't forget.
I can't believe you just referenced what that one dude yelled at Mitchell for slaughtering him in COD for like 2 hours straight. That's just spectacular. Okay, so Jeff, what are you attempting to do when you separate these guys out? Are you attempting to be intimidating with these guys, or are you trying to persuade them? What's your end goal here?
My goal is to mitigate their ability to intervene in us intervening.
Okay.
That would be the goal in separating them. So it would be to reduce their ability to persuade and enhance our ability to persuade by being in between.
Okay. Then I'm going to say that is an intimidation check for these guys.
Okay.
For us?
No, for against the people that he's trying to separate out. So Jeff, make an intimidation check.
Is anybody else trained in intimidation?
I am.
I would like to give you.
Oh my gosh, I'm not.
You're not.
I am.
Okay.
I say both thing is.
So I'm going to
Do
utilize
you
the
allow
resources at my
strength
disposal.
instead of charisma?
I would allow this to be a strength one instead of charisma.
So Othig, I will give you advantage on it. What's to intimidation?
5.
If you use strength, is it different?
No.
It would be significantly different.
In your stat thing where it says
should
charisma,
be.
you can click on it until it says strength. And it should be
It's the
significant.
modifier, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
your
Strength mod
It's
plus
your-
proficiency, which should be.
Unless your charisma is the
Oh.
same as your strength, it's
Sorry,
should go
no.
up.
Yeah, so it'd be 8.
Okay. You are better than me at this, so utilizing my resource,
Yep.
I'm
So
going to give you advantage, and don't forget you have Bardic Inspiration to intimidate these fellas.
I'm gonna give
And
you guys. I'm gonna clean up the combat tracker here and give you guys a long rest.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Oh, did we take a long rest? When?
You've been at the
this is
keep.
Probably multiple times.
You've been at the keep for a while, so you're good.
Oh, okay.
Do we get our keep bonuses?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have your keep
we-
bonuses.
All right. Cool.
You can have them restored
Don't
back to
forget-
2.
All right, so I'm rolling intimidation here.
Yep.
Yes,
At
you would,
advantage.
But you'd be using strength as your stat modifier, not. So
Okay, so then I'll do that.
that's not bad.
It's not bad at all. So you separate these guys out, and they're like, "Hey, look, we were just trying to, get what we need to survive, and you're going to move us away from the people." And you've definitely separated them. So now persuade the crowd to stand down like you wanted to, Jeff.
Okay. And I believe someone else has persuaded.
This one is going to just
does.
fall solely to you.
Oh, I won't have advantage on
You
this.
will not.
Give him aid?
You can give him an aid. It's
Guidance.
not guidance.
Guidance.
Okay.
Because you do know this is a planned speech. Oh, boom.
Dang, son. Plus a D4. There
Yeah.
it is.
So you very logically persuade that attacking and killing somebody else is going to come to no good. However, finding a better way to plead your case to somebody who might be able to share with you to get you through these tough times is more likely a better avenue. And the crowd disperses, and as they do, it transforms back into a regular cavern.
Oh, how fun.
And you see an exit over here. Boink.
Boink.
So I'm going to guess you're going to take that path?
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
So you take that path, and you begin to hear children laughing, and it sounds like people playing like games and just having a good time. And you come out into a nice little forested area, a little grove, and there's a neatly set table with a bunch of presents on it, and then another table nearby that has a cake on it. And there are children running around everywhere, and a few
sound-
adults.
Yeah, doesn't it? Sound familiar?
Does it sound like what?
Is it evil cakes?
No, that was pie. It was the pie of Ultimate
Is it
Evil.
evil pie? That's what it was.
Same thing.
Yeah.
What's an evil cake?
So,
Yeah.
you see this all running around, and one kid distinguishes himself from the rest of the group of children and runs up to one of the adults there, a dad who's got a big knife out, and he's starting to slice the cake, and he's like, "I want my cake now! I want my presents now! Give them to me!" And he's just being terrible, and the parents are just dealing with this situation.
Jeffrey as a kid.
And the mother looks over at you, Jeffrey, and says, "Can you help?"
Yes, I can, and I will just cast Calm Emotions on the child.
Okay. Let me make a saving throw. That's fantastic.
DC 17.
All
I
right.
totally want to suck that up.
Well, he is He is a child, so he has no wisdom modifier at this time. He's got negative wisdom. He has not yet learned. So the 17 on the dice is not going to be a 17. It will be less than.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say, if needs be, I will undeniable logic. I don't want to hurt his brain.
And he just goes from enjoying his birthday party and wanting all this stuff. He's like, that's all right, though. I'm just going to go sit over in the tree and get older now.
That's not... God dang it, that's not what that's supposed to do.
He's totally having a sugar crash.
Yep.
So now that he's calm, I'm going to go talk to him.
Hey,
Because
did you know it's my birthday?
Tony can't handle screaming children. I did okay today, but man, I don't do it.
Jeffrey just gave him lithium.
Yes, I did. That's what happened.
I got some presents over there. I guess I'll open them later. Maybe after I eat my cake. I'm going to do that later, too. I'm probably just going to do everything later.
Like, live. I just live.
I'm going to utilize minor illusion, and I'm going to try and entertain the child.
Okay. Make a performance check.
Yeah, I was wondering if using minor illusion would give me any advantages, but
it's allowing you to make a performance
You'd be
check.
like,
fair
I'm
enough.
going to cast calm emotions on myself.
Oh, that's good. 24.
I feel like this is like in Serenity, where the Pax just turned everybody off and just stopped doing everything. He's just gonna starve to death.
So you put on this minor illusion show for him, and he starts to laugh a little bit. He's like, you're pretty funny. I like that part where you showed me the things where everything went wrong for the little halfling guy with the beard. That was cool. And then he gets up and he goes and he plays with his friends again, and the parents come over and thank you. And
I'm totally a Rodney Dangerfield style comedian where I just do self-deprecation on top of stage the whole time.
Yep.
Self-defecation? Is that what you said?
Deprecation.
That is a different thing.
I'm not gonna lie. The last two heraldings I tried to do definitely shat the bed.
So the forest fades away,
I just want to all the time.
and a path opens up to the north.
Yay to the north.
You guys take it for a little bit, and it comes to a door. On the other side of the door, you can hear laughing and shouting and the clinking of glasses, and you can smell beer coming through this door.
Oh no. Could I cast calm emotions on him? His beer sense is tingling.
The beer sense is definitely tingling.
I say we just head in and see how this goes. I mean, I'm excited for a party, and nothing terrible can ever happen when alcohol's involved.
So you open up the door, and you guys enter into just a seedy-looking dive bar. There are a couple of different factions of tables pulled together of people sitting there, and they all kind of stop as you walk in, and there's a band playing in the corner, and you can tell they're young and unskilled. They are no good at what they're doing, but they're not terrible either. And there's a dragonborn and a pixie, a half elf, and an earth genasi. And Jeff, to you, everybody but the earth genasi looks really familiar. You've seen this group before. This is the group of bards you hung out with in Zinji.
Oh yeah.
But they must have fired their bassist because their bassist is now a lizard folk and not an earth genasi. Which story-wise, it's the same guy who's gotten himself into multiple body trouble. So.
Yeah.
But you guys, you come in, the room quiets down, the band keeps playing, and shortly after that, they get right back to doing what they were doing.
Let's grab a table, enjoy, and see what's happening. See if there's anything to glean from the situation. I don't really want to kick the band off the stage, but I want to kick the band off the stage.
Is the beer illusionary too?
If it is, it's a really good illusion because it tastes pretty great.
I'm down.
So
Mav will order a second round on Jeffrey.
So you guys are there, and as you order the second round, a huge half-orc comes up and puts his hand on Jeffrey's shoulder. Pretty aggressively, but not enough to where you think they are immediately starting a fight. And he tells you that this is his bar and you're not welcome here.
I would. Can I make an insight check to see if I can glean if it's because I'm a halfling or if it's just because he doesn't like my face?
It's because he doesn't like your face.
I will.
Actually, you see he has a really interesting tattoo on his shoulder that several other people have, and you don't have it.
That's fair. I will. I would like to attempt to bribe.
Make a persuasion check. How much you bribing him?
I will.
How much will it take?
Let's see. I have. And he said he's an orc?
He's a half-orc.
He's a half-orc. Okay. What I was about to do, I'm glad I didn't do, because it would have involved ivory, and I was going to make a tusk joke. I'm going to offer 50 gold to let us mind our business, patron his bar, and be on our way.
50 gold. That is a large sum of money. He looks at you, and I need you to make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Okay. Persuasion check at disadvantage. Ooh, that's still real good.
That is still real good. He takes the pouch, he shakes it a little bit, he's like, looks like I cleaned you out today. I was gonna hit you up for more. And then I was just gonna hit you. But I'll let you drink here if you got any money left. And he turns around and he's like, hey boys, this moron just paid me 50 gold. And he goes back, sits down, and the bar begins to fade.
Quickly before it begins to fade, I would like to cast the spell Mislead.
Oh. Okay.
Which immediately creates an illusory double of myself in its place. I become and I would like to attempt to regain my gold.
Okay. Make a sleight of hand check.
Okay. Sleight of hand check. Ooh, I'm not real good at that.
Initiative.
I thought that was his sleight of hand roll.
Nope.
Mav is just prepared.
Do I?
Or not.
It's not concentration. So I would like to, with the sleight of hand, I would like to use minor illusion to cause a small, to cause a glass in front of him, like a glass of beer, to shatter, to distract him, to see if that would give me any advantage in this situation.
I'm not going to give you advantage, but I will tinker the DC.
Okay, sweet.
So,
thank you.
Because there's a lot of noise and chaos in this bar. So.
Yep.
Well, that's
okay. Yes. What do you want?
Yep. So you snatch your 50 coins back, and you're like, hee hee hee, and you did good. And the bar continues to fade. And the last thing you see is the illusion of the orc going, he gave me all his. Where'd the money go? And he's gone. And the other door to the bar opens up, revealing a tunnel.
This lead lasts for an hour. I'm going to running.
You're going to keep it running?
I can operate this illusion in my step, and I'm going to continue it moving forward and remain invisible, following shortly behind, like within the group.
Okay. All right. So you maintain your illusion, and you guys head down the tunnel into the next room. And this one opens up into it looks to be a very well kept and landscaped grove. Off in the distance, you can see a castle on a hill, not far away at all. And there are dozens and dozens of people here dressed in their fineries, and you can hear some instrumental music playing somewhere in the background, and there's rows and rows of benches, and far at the end you see an altar where there is a bride and a groom. And as you guys enter into the grove, the groom points to Jeffrey and says, "Finally, my best man has arrived. Come, give us a speech. Tell us what you think of our blessed day today."
Oh god.
Do I know them?
No.
I'm a BS my. All right. I would like to see if I can make any
Come
observations.
on. Make sure to herald them.
Don't
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Stop trying to jinx me. I would like to see if I can make some observations of the couple, of the group, maybe the mom and dad involved on either side, and see if I can make a little bit of comedy gold out of this, while also blessing their.
Right.
While he's trying to do that observation, Mav and probably Othig and Thanik are going to be observing to see if it's open bar, where the bar is.
There is unfortunately no bar here. What kind of savages are these people?
I know it.
You do see a bottle of wine up near the couple, but that's it. I mean, you could definitely go get that if you want.
Well,
You're welcome.
Jeff, I'm going to need an insight check from you first.
I appreciate that.
so Jeffrey proper is invisible. Be nearby the situation while the Luciori double does the heralding.
Yeah, sure.
So you said I need a what?
An insight check first.
Insight check.
Oh, that's real good. That's real good. So you pick up plenty of material. Just looking at the crowd and, studying them for a moment, your mind begins to fill itself with information that you don't normally have access to. You're gathering a lot more than you feel like you should in preparation for what you're about to do. You're picking up on their style of cufflinks and where they got them and other stuff like that. It's really cool. You also pick up on the fact that this woman is ready to explode with tension.
Like physical.
Like a woman on her wedding day.
If you screw this up, she might attempt to kill you.
Oh, not like lust tension.
No,
Gotcha.
no, not that. That might be simmering in there as well, but at this moment, you don't know what's happening with her. But she is definitely tension.
Twitchy.
Nope, she's not friendly.
She's friendly. She's real friendly. And what type of check am I going to need here?
This will be a persuasion at this point because you do know the information you're going to talk about. It's not a deception.
All right.
Used for everybody else.
Did what?
Is he just really happy?
Andy, did you take a screenshot this time?
No,
I'm frozen again?
You've been freezing all night.
Yeah, you've
so
been
weird.
You
In
have
and out.
moved about a total of 5 minutes.
All right, I'm just going to turn my camera off.
Oh man!
No, I like that
trying
face.
print screen this one.
I like that face. Well, I don't.
Nice.
You look super high.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it totally does.
It does
All right.
on mine.
Make your persuasion roll.
Persuasion. Okay. Bam!
Oh, no.
Not bad. That's a 16.
It's not bad.
16, still not bad.
Let me roll on what the bride's got. Oh, no. So she's over there and she's just fuming. She's starting to breathe heavier and you see what she's agitated by it. So you try and crack another joke. She doesn't like jokes. You talk about her dad and how great he is. She obviously has dad problems and he's not all that great. You're like, but you married the best man you ever found, but unfortunately she's settling on the guy that she needed to marry. And she just gets so angry and she explodes in rage and transforms into this monstrous creature and rushes you, and you're going to need to roll initiative. And she rushes fake
Mav
Jeff.
say.
That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Mav is not surprised by this.
I think honestly, all three of us have just been like,
You're a jerk. I would like to think that Jeffrey is sent to the bride's mother. Like actual Jeff, not illusory Jeff. What is that?
That's so great.
What is that?
That's great.
Bridezilla.
Yes.
She's got a little groom that she's crushing in her hands.
Oh, that poor fella.
Yep. So,
At first, I thought it was blood, but it's actually just the color of her fingernails. But I still want to think it's blood coming from that one guy.
so everybody rolled initiative. I do.
I'm in. I'm doing it right now. There we go. Ooh, that's a good initiative.
Wait, I target.
what?
So did I.
Okay.
That's because she doesn't have a name.
She doesn't. I added it in the combat tracker. She's not an actual NPC out of the combat tracker.
Combat tractor.
Yep. So, Jeff, you're up first.
I am. Can I? Is it going to be an action if I want to understand in the situation if I need to kill this thing or just incapacitate it?
That would, if you want to try and figure out what you should do, that's going to be an action.
That'll be a full action.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to cast Eye Bite on.
Okay, what is it? What are you having it do? Because I know that's got multiple
I'm going to have it put to
options.
sleep.
Ooh, I got the hiccups.
Target falls asleep. So I will. Oh, are you rolling or do you want me?
I just rolled.
Okay.
So she doesn't have stats set up in her thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
it
DC
would return a false negative. I got a 16 on the dice. She is enraged, and she is going to pass that. Not by much, but enough. She looks sleepy for a minute, and then she just screams, "There's no time to sleep on my wedding day!" And she just smashes a groom right next to her, and he just screams and dies.
Oh, bye, friend. Dang it! I didn't undeniable logic. I will end my turn using undeniable logic.
Okay.
To deal. Does she have stats for damage? Am I able to damage her?
She does have stats, AC, and damage, so you can do that to her.
Actually, I am going to hold off because I want in my turn that she has the disadvantage. So
Okay.
I'll just end my turn.
All right. Well, she is going to charge forward. Actually, she's not. What's she going to do? Yeah, she's going to charge over here at Jeffrey, and then take position in the trees.
Yep.
Can she see you once you cast a spell?
That's what I was trying to look at. I was trying to find out. I don't know how mislead works.
Well,
that's what I was looking at.
Find out right quick because it is important to her positioning. It's not important to what she's going to do. She opens up her mouth and she screams, and all of these little rice pellets come flying out of it. And it's a breath weapon, and it's like you're being hit by 1,000 pieces of rice at 100 miles an hour. And I need every...
Yep, I do become visible.
Okay, so you all need to make dexterity saving throws, and you're all within 60 feet, right? Yeah.
25. Gosh, I am just.
I'm in that rolling that.
I will. Oh, if you don't want to, I can use my reaction.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I will use my reaction for you on that.
Okay.
So just go ahead and re-roll.
I will use Indomitable now.
Because of the wording of my thing, you actually have to use that roll.
I have to take that, don't I?
You have to take the roll that you get.
So, Thanak got a 10, Jeff got a 25. So, okay, everybody but Jeff is going to take full damage on this sucker.
I tried.
You're all going to take 35 points of rice damage as it's like stuck in your skin and in your beard. You get a couple straight in the eye. Jeff, you're
35
points of rice damage.
35 damage from rice.
Rice.
And halved, that is 17, right?
Yes, correct.
No, 17.
Yep.
So white or brown rice?
Did you guys add your 10 hit points?
No.
Colored rice.
Throw them on there.
Leader, which is 15. You would have had 15 temporary hit points, which
I know we just assume that that's happening every week, but I would like us to try and remember those types of things.
I had added it, and then you gave us a long rest.
That's what
yep. I don't mind assuming that they're there, but I just want to.
Nope. I looked and was like, why aren't they there? And then I
also
remembered.
have aid.
So your maximum hit points would be increased.
8 is already built into our hit points.
I want to go after Thanak, so can I either just go after Thanak or can I hold my action until Thanak goes?
What?
Yes. I need to write up how I really feel about held actions and skipping turns and things like that. You can...
Well, I don't want to skip my turn.
Or, delaying turns.
Yeah.
You have
I think if there's no enemies in between, you and be able to, but that's what I'm working on figuring out.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, because sometimes I don't care, other times I do. Yeah, that's fine. We can make that happen. All right, so Thanak, you're going to be up. I think what I will do is Othig, I am going to permanently drop you in the initiative tracker then. As a penalty for doing that after Thanak.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because basically what it's saying is you choose to always be after Thanos. So it's not advantageous to you every time, but it's advantageous to you at least once that you want to do that.
I mean, more often than not.
Yep. So
because obviously I want to use Pincer. So.
All right. So Thanak, you're up. She just breathed a whole bunch of rice at you.
Can I?
Uncooked.
I mean,
even.
How much room is there? Because she's in the trees, so I don't know.
You can't get behind her. You
But
could
I can
get
on the side of her.
You could get on the bottom or the top of her or on the side of her. Correct.
Okay.
Why did I roll that?
Yep. That's a fine spot to be.
Is that fine?
Yeah, that's. I mean, it doesn't matter. Either of those places are fine.
Well, I guess I'll just. How tall is she?
She's 40 feet tall now.
I will totally blow out her tendons.
All right, make your attack rolls.
Gosh, because that sucks. Getting hit right in the tendon. Is that? I assume that's 5 above her AC.
That is 5 over her AC.
You should just break one of the heels on her shoes. That could probably devastate her too.
That's not.
Okay.
Yeah, you are barely taller than her heels.
But yeah, so I could hit her right in the tendon. That's fine, right?
Yeah, it's you wail on her, the back of her leg, and she has not skipped leg day. You can just tell. Her tendons are made of steel.
Steel. What a weak hit.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that'll be it for me.
Cool. Othig. That puts it back to you.
Move there. Do the pincer thing.
I am going to say you sacrifice your reaction to move yourself in initiative too. There's got to be a cost to it.
At the first turn?
Yeah. On the first round of combat, you can drop yourself. I'll figure that out. I'm going to work on it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I do too.
And then for some attacks. Oh yeah, that hit.
Yep, that definitely hits her. 25 will hit.
I'm gonna just action surge to.
Do it.
I'm gonna call that. So I'll make this my. Wow.
That wasn't so good, but hey, all right.
That wasn't so good.
These other attacks are still coming in solid, though. You're on attack 3 of 6 now.
6, yeah.
Just wailing on this poor lady. She's just angry. There's a crit.
There it is. That was better.
That was a bit better.
And then, you know what? I'm gonna use the butt swing.
Boom. So
okay.
You just wail on this monstrosity of a woman on a rampage now, and yeah, you deal close to 100 points of damage to her in your go at things. So Mav, you're up.
Mav will nod and appreciate what Otha just did. Would he be able to suck up the magic that is this illusion?
Oh.
Yes, but I'm gonna have you turn this into damage. Like,
oh, okay.
Like
I'll do that.
Make an Arcana check, or as you go to suck this up, and the better you do, the least damaging it'll be to you. Okay, so that's 12.
No, that's not good.
So
we have inspiration still.
I do have a war gong.
And inspiration.
And I have an inspiration. Is that a D8?
D10.
Ooh, fancy. So 19.
19. That turns out to be okay. So it's not terrible. You can roll 6d6 damage to her, and then you will take 1/4 of that in feedback damage. So you'll take 5 points of damage, but you do 20 damage to her.
How spell levels? Is that 6?
No,
or,
I would call that 3 spell levels of damage of magical spell. So doing something like this is new for you. You realize that an environmental effect like this causes feedback. It's different than when you explode, but it's.
But I'm still going to use my hit dice like I normally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll mess with that too with environmental effects, but you don't find yourself in situations like this too often. But Jeff, puts us back to you.
All right, I am going to just look, lady. You need to settle down. Maybe you need a nap.
Down.
And I'm gonna use undeniable. Deal some damage, and then give her disadvantage on another attempt to put her to sleep.
Jeff, I would say that you did figure out when you tried to put her to sleep last time that she was immune to it.
Oh.
Due to her being enraged.
Gone.
So don't use that again.
Well, it's concentration for a minute. It's a 6th level spell that I concentrate on and can use it once per turn.
Got it.
Yep.
Well, iBite has other effects.
Yeah, but they're all charm style stuff. It's panicked, which is frightened or sickened. Oh yeah, you know what? I'll just say I'm sick of you, lady, and try and make her sicken.
Okay.
Disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks, and at the end of return.
Oh, disadvantage on that saving throw, huh?
Yep.
Well, that'll cause me to drop the nat 20 in exchange for a 5.
Yay! So she is sickened.
Yep, she's just
disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
You just hear her scream out, "I'm so nervous!" She just starts to puke everywhere.
And then I am going to. I don't like this. I want to move. I can't move. She'll smack me, won't she?
She will certainly try.
Gosh. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the attack of opportunity and I'm going to run away.
What's your AC?
Garbage. 15.
Oh, I'm going to get you. Got it. My low one is a 16. So she is going to clobber you for... She hits you with one of the groomsmen she's shaking around. And you're going to take 19 points of bludgeoning damage.
Yes.
Wait, one of the groomsmen? What kind of wedding was that?
Well, there were a couple of groomsmen, and she snatched him up and she smashed her groom, and now she's using the best man and the other groomsmen as bludgeoning weapons.
Oh, groomsmen, not
Not groomed.
Not yeah. So
I'm
now
really tired.
now it is her turn, and she's furious with Othig, so she is going to attempt to hit Othig for sure. But she is at disadvantage.
She is.
That's going to be a 2 and a 6. Well, it'd be a 6 and a 10, but neither of those are going to hit Othig. So she's attempting to groomsman Othig, and he's like, I ain't getting hit by that, and he's just dodging around. And Thanak, it is your turn. You do have advantage as you are in the pincer maneuver right now.
Legitimately, would I be able
To what?
to climb up her leg and hit her in the back of the knee so she falls?
I'm going to say no. These are well-shaved, monstrous legs. They're super slick right now.
No, I suppose.
You're not going to find a handhold. I mean, she's pretty muscular, too, so you're not even going to be able to dig into any fleshy parts.
Remember, she didn't skip leg day.
Yeah, she's swole.
She is swole. Does she have any, like, ridges from the veins?
No, you cannot scale the bride's leg.
Is that 5 over?
That is going to be just 5 over.
Okay. Oh, come on now. Hey, I killed her anyways!
So you wail on that tendon again, and it gives, and you hear it pop and snap, and you watch her ankle buckle in the high heel as it just bunches up right underneath her kneecap. You can see it's just shot up all the way there, and she just starts screaming, and she looks at Jeff, and she's like, it's all your fault! And she dies, and she starts screaming, and the parents stand up and pat you on the shoulder and be like, no, it's really her fault. She's terrible. And the scene fades away.
I love it. That's awesome.
And scene.
End scene.
That's
I don't feel victorious.
Yeah, you should totally feel victorious about that.
So where are we at? Where are we at here? 9:04.
Just remember, Tony, it was her fault.
Okay.
I can't wait to tell all stories about how Othig swung and swung and swung and swung.
You're welcome.
One mighty blow from my hammer took it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll retell it differently. The right way.
You can tell however you want. You wanted to go left.
I did.
So you guys head back down into the tunnel again. You've gotten a little used to the way these things work, and you come across another inn. This one, there is a storytelling competition going on as you get there. And you walk in, and they all look at Jeff, and they're like, there's last year's champion. Tell us a story. Tell us a story, short man. He's just a wee dwarf. Even for a dwarf, he's wee.
It's true, I am. Let's see. What's a good story to tell? The individuals that are here, so we know that they're familiar. What I feel like...
Just visually. They're not personality-wise.
Right. I'm trying to think, like, based on the environment, what type of story would best suit this, whether it would be a story of, like, war or a story of intrigue, or, like, what type of story would be best. Because not every story is for every crowd.
This is true. You may make an insight check. Or somebody else can make an insight check if there's somebody else better at it, and they can inform you.
I have a 9 to my insight, so I don't actually know if anyone's better.
You can have an advantage.
Yeah, you guys can study the crowd together.
That's all right. 23, yeah.
23. They're going to want to hear a story about somebody being epic in something that they did. Just an amazing feat of awesome people.
Tell them a story about Bill.
I am going to tell them the legend of Granite Back and how he defeated the Nightmare.
Okay.
And I will throw in the story about the chicken.
Oh, yes.
I will start with where it all began, the humble beginnings
Yeah,
of
yeah. All right.
being pecked to death by a chicken.
Make a persuasion check.
All right. There we go.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Pretty
That's really pretty good. So you tell a story and they're like, oh, I think I heard of this bloke, this Filbert. He hung up with that lady who was made of mushrooms, if I remember correctly. It's a funny thing that he did, though, killing the Nightmare Lord. But great story. I believe it. I don't know about that chicken pot, though. It seems so unrealistic that chicken
I'm
would...
going to turn Navamine into...
I am going to absorb that spell.
Can I counterspell it and redirect it right at
Jeffrey?
Matt?
Make it our-
right at Matt.
You should redirect it at that guy that said he doesn't believe.
You would not be able to counterspell it if I absorb. So you could counterspell it and redirect it at, but I'm still absorbing it.
I like the idea of hitting the guy in the crowd.
I suppose that's true.
I like the idea of hitting a guy in the crowd.
I thought you were going to send it back at...
No.
So, yeah, you counterspell the polymorph, and it hits the guy in the crowd who becomes a chicken, and he's over there squawking, and he's like, I'm a bloody chicken, Brock! And his one friend looks at him, he's like, I wonder if I could eat you. And he grabs him by the neck, and that's right when the scene starts to fade.
I believe you mean Chook?
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So, you follow the tunnel down, and then you end up in an open park area surrounded by trees, and there is a platform there, and there is a poetry competition going on.
Ew.
Ooh.
Okay. Alright. This is like the lowest form of art.
Do you say that while you walk in and you're like...
I think Jeffrey would, yeah. He just doesn't like things that...
So, you mumble
You
that,
suck at Harold.
and this girl with a beret on and really long straight hair and glasses, and she's got on this cardigan. She's there, and she's like, ugh.
Ew, a beatnik.
Ugh. I can't believe they even let you into this competition. She got a name tag on. It says Daria on it.
I'm gonna use minor put Enzo's name on my coat and be like, "Let me in. I'm sponsored."
You don't even know who Enzo is. You've never met Enzo.
No, I wouldn't. Who would be a name that I would know that I would use as a sponsor?
I don't know if you know anybody. The Granite Backs.
There you go.
7-7's crafting clan.
I don't want our symbol on there.
7-7's crafting and poetry guild.
You go to take.
I don't want to help with this. Is what
You're dealing with Daria, and you're like, oh, stupid Daria, and and somebody comes and grabs you. You're like, you're up, get on the stage, and they put you up on the stage, and you need to perform a poem. But this woman is just glaring at you. And because you have now offended the crowd, you must do so at disadvantage.
I would like to perform a haiku from Zinji.
Oh.
That is in whatever their language is. And I'm going to use the universal language. So it's going to not only be a haiku, but it's also going to be in a language that they don't understand. And I'm trying to be more pretentious than they are.
Okay. So the illusion seems to be working against you in this. You take the platform and you look out and you start to see the faces of Zinji people, and they're like, "Where did all these Zinjiers come from? Zinjites?" and instantly it's like a completely different culture. So you have canceled out your disadvantage. Yeah, except for Daria. She's just still eyeballing you. She's got a book of her own poems like tucked under her arm, and she's got a quill in her hand. She's doodling mean sketches of you.
That's spectacular.
So please, Yep, 100%.
Oh,
please make your performance roll as you deliver this haiku. Oh, it's good. It's good. So you deliver it, and everybody in the crowd starts bowing to you, and they're politely clapping. And it's very good. It's a good haiku. It makes no sense. It's perfect.
Wasn't it a disadvantage?
No, he said I canceled it out.
Oh, because you were doing that.
His plot to do it in a foreign language to be pretentious canceled out the disadvantage.
Does it look like Darius still needs to go?
It does.
I'm going to use suggestion on her, and I'm just going to say, you have a lisp.
Oh, no.
And I'll that's a DC 17 wisdoms.
She looks at you, and she's like, you have a lisp. And you feel like your spell has been reflected upon you. Please
that's unfortunate.
Please make a saving throw.
Oh, no.
I didn't know that was a thing she could do. Matt.
Tony, everybody froze. Everybody froze. I'm probably crashing. Pretty sure Discord's crashing.
Oh, Mike's internet got turned off.
Well, everything bonked. That was crazy. All right,
Well, that's good.
Let's back up.
Oh,
You should be able to see me. Can you see
Yeah,
me?
we got you back. I mean, you were frozen for me for the last half.
Okay.
packets were dropped.
Did you make I need you to make a saving throw.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure because I have things for charm spells, so
Okay.
I have advantage,
Okay. And it is against your own DC, so it is 17.
and that's a wisdom. I will fail it, but I've already gone, so
Yep. All right. So you've already gone, and the scene
this
fades.
is against the robe. This is against the robe, so the DC is different.
It's still not gonna be 8's not gonna get you there, buddy.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't
Eight
matter.
ain't helping.
But I now have a list at least for a little while.
So let's see. Daria, she's gonna go now.
Yep.
Her poems aren't any good anyways. You didn't even need. She's just like, she's trying to talk about like really highfalutin concepts through really terrible imagery, and people are just start booing her, and she just calls everybody uncultured and goes away.
We want the guy who talked funny.
So the next place you guys go to, you enter into a little entryway to. It looks like there's a garden party out ahead of where you're going, but you're in a little side circle, and everybody is glad that you're here. Like some people come running up to you and they're like, "You've finally arrived. I'm so glad you're here. Here's your outfit for the evening."
Okay.
And they put you in. It looks to be a cheap suit.
Shocking. Okay.
And they usher you out into the garden party, and they're like, introducing for you for one of the first times you've ever heard him, the funniest halfling dwarf alive, Jeffrey Goodmark. And all these snooty rich people turn around and kind of start clapping, like they're not interested.
Should we start calling you the dwarfling?
Dwarfling? I love it.
The dwarfling.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And you now need to entertain a bunch of bored rich people.
Bored rich people. What do bored rich people find funnier than poor people? I am going to... I'm sorry. Tony found that way funnier than I could have. Poor people. That's I am going. Gosh, I don't know. I can't think of anything unique to do here. My brain has done so many different things here.
The meme works.
So it's exactly what is happening here. Jeffrey walks up there in his cheap suit and he just looks terrified. I've never been funny before.
That's not true. That's
Does he
not,
still have a lisp?
that's not true.
We don't know yet. He hasn't started talking.
So I'm going to start with just a bunch of cheap antics.
You're going to start with lisps?
I don't still have a lisp, but I can drop the spell.
It not...
Hey,
No?
When it came back at you, it's not your spell anymore.
Well, I mean, it's concentration. That was why I was like...
It's not your spell
The
anymore.
illusion is still concentrating on it.
The illusion is still concentrating on it somewhere in the multiverse. Alright. What the heck can I do? I mean, nothing entertains rich people. That's the problem. Money entertains rich people. I'm just gonna walk around and hand out a gold coin to each of them. I don't...
You were hired to be a comedian. Tell some jokes. Start cranking them out, circus boy.
God, I heard Brian Regan so much right there.
That is Brian Regan. That's a quote from Brian.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some jokes. Start cranking them out, circus boy.
What the heck? Yeah, I'll just start telling jokes about poor people.
Okay.
And then jokes about politicians.
Okay.
Because
They
that's
will.
what
You
rich people like.
you will have a higher DC because the minute you start talking, you do have a lisp, and it is pretty severe.
I'll play into it like I'm handicapped. Rich people love handicapped.
I don't know if we can do
That's
that.
not true. So disadvantage on a performance check.
I'm comfortable.
I mean,
with
Josh
that.
Blue is pretty hilarious.
Josh Blue's
Josh Blue's hilarious.
freaking
Josh
hilarious.
Blue, man, I haven't heard that name in such
It
a
was
long time.
it was news forever.
Yep.
One of handicapped people. I mean, it just makes the news. It entertains them.
All right, so make your performance check.
Disadvantage, right? Yep.
Nope, you have a higher DC. Oh, those are both really good rolls. So,
Yeah.
at first nobody thinks you're funny at all,
No.
and then you start talking about poor people, and they're like, "Poor people, they don't even have food." And they just start to lose it, and then like people are just spilling plates of food, and they're like, they don't even have this is garbage. They don't even have garbage, and it's just this scene, and then they refuse to pay you, even though you were funny. How do you handle that situation?
Oh,
I am going. See, is there anyone here who looks like a Karen?
Oh, they all look like Karens.
I am going to find the alpha Karen, and I'm going to make myself look like her and begin to berate them all for being cheap. And I'm going to
you're gonna
point
heckle
out
the audience.
The
I'm going to
alpha
point out-
Karen.
I'm going to look like the alpha Karen, and I'm going to attempt to make them feel like they can't afford to pay me.
Okay. Make a persuasion check. A deception check, please.
Oh yeah, deception. The alpha Karen. Yeah, that's a 29.
So,
Oh, so you're too poor to pay me?
yep. And all the other Karens are like they can't be out Karened. This is not a thing that should ever happen.
They're all the alpha Karen.
They're all going to their husbands and demanding the money, and they go to the garden party committee and want to see managers. At this point, they need to talk to all the managers, every manager right now, and they need a discount so they can pay the comedian more because we're not going to be undersold. And they gather up. They start giving you bracelets and earrings. They're snatching wedding rings off of each other's fingers, and they just dump all this treasure on you guys, and you guys will walk out of here with 1,000 gold worth of baubles.
You can tell which one is the alpha Karen because she's dressed like the ma'am DeLorean.
Oh, why did you do what you just did?
I should be on stage.
Nav, do you want to add that to the coffers, please?
1,000 gold.
1,000 gold.
Yes,
1,000 gold there. So, you move on in the cavern, and the next place you arrive is a throne room.
Frick.
It is quiet. It is somber. There is a king sitting on the throne. He is holding a helmet, and he looks both sad and angry.
The moment I see that it's a throne room, I'm going to cast Greater Restoration on myself to make sure I don't have...
So the spell's really hard to get out. You got to repeat it a few times.
Okay.
But it's fine. Lester comes out. He's like, I got your mouth, boy.
Got your mouth, boy.
You got Don't worry, you got a purty mouth again.
Very, very proud of that.
Ew.
And as you guys enter the hall, the king says, "Who enters my halls?"
Man would look at Jeffrey and say, "Well, why don't you herald us?"
Gosh, just never gets old.
Pat him on the butt.
I'm not going to be big with it. I'm simply going to say the granite backs and their herald.
Make a persuasion check.
All right. It's the best one I've had of those ever.
Come forth, Harold.
No, Jeffrey.
Your name's Harold now.
No, it is.
You're done telling jokes. That was the last one.
That was the last. No, that. No, yeah. So, proceeding humbly, I will keep my eyes to the floor until instructed to do otherwise.
What brings you to my throne at this dark hour?
Oh. Okay. We have come with the hopes to lend aid.
Can your aid bring back my son?
Possibly.
How long has he been dead?
Slain a week ago.
1 moment, please.
I was really hoping that gone didn't mean dead, and
Right.
you were gonna pull that on him.
In fact, I am capable of that.
Do not
As long as you
trifle
have the body.
with an old man's emotions.
Well, I mean, as long as you have the body, I have a relationship with the weave strong enough to bring those who have fallen back.
Holy but a goodie.
That's fantastic.
Look at that.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
At advantage, because he wants to believe you.
Yeah, and I am referring to using the magic of dead is what I would be.
Yep, I know, because you tried to use it on that one guy for a long time, and we talked you out of it.
Well, I also didn't realize which spell it was. I thought it was animate dead. But that's
So he believes you, and
I want you to cast Animate Dead on his son so bad.
no, this is different. No.
Yes, please.
so he brings out a body, and it's his son. He's got a huge sword wound, really ugly looking cut down his chest. And you begin to cast the ritual of Raise Dead. While you do that, a demonic presence manifests in the room, and you're going to need to get 3 successful rolls while your comrades fight off this creature. And that's how this one's going to go.
Yeah. All right.
Per round, so...
Do you want me to roll initiative, Mike, or no?
Yes, you guys do
Okay.
need to roll initiative.
Wow.
I can't roll a 1, but I really wanted to be last.
Alright, Jeff, so you are not in this combat. You are up here with
Okay.
the king and his dead-bodied son. And your family is fighting this guy. So it's going to go first. Cool. So it's going to charge forward, and it is going to make 4 attacks. What?
What happened?
What do you mean? What happened?
What did you do? What? Sorry, my wife walked in.
Oh.
But apparently...
You didn't hear anything that I just explained?
No.
Oh, while Jeff...
Okay.
while Jeff
I
is...
assume it was Jeff trying to handle some more.
No, he did a really good job of that.
I'm so upset with you right now.
He offered to raise the king's son from the dead, which the king wants him to do. But this fiend has decided to come and interfere with that because you are meddling with things that should not be meddled with. And
That's our middle name.
Good job, Jeffrey.
So,
Bro, you do this all the time.
the Baylor is up first. It's going to make 4 attacks, not 5. I'll drop the last dice.
Does that count for coming into my...
No, because it was only 10 feet away, so it was already in your attack range.
All right.
So that is going to be a 23 and a 19 to hit Othig.
Yep, 19 will hit.
Okay.
I hope you don't say Mav.
So Othig, you are going to take a total of 62 slashing and lightning damage.
Well, now I definitely have to ask. When you match AC, it always goes to the attacker?
Yes.
Okay.
And Thanak, I believe the first one's going to miss you at a 18.
Yeah, I have a 19.
Okay, and then he is going to critically hit you with the second attack.
Oh, gosh.
And that is going to be 64 points of slashing and lightning damage. Othig, you're up.
Wait, how much?
Wait, I didn't get to go.
I am?
Oh! Nope, you're not. I'm sorry. I skipped everybody. It's just where the marker was, so when I clicked
I
next...
don't think Jeff got to go either.
Yeah.
Hold on. When the lightning damage,
Yes.
that does it seem like it's a hefty amount of lightning damage?
It's a sizable amount.
Okay, I'm gonna cast deflecting ward on that.
Okay.
Not deflecting ward, absorb elements.
Absorb
I'm sorry.
Okay. Two, 14. That's 17, 17 points of that.
What is deflecting ward?
It's
That's
not.
my own personal thing.
Oh.
So 17 would be...
Was lightning.
Was 17 the lightning, so half of 17?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it is Jeff's turn, who needs to make a Arcana check.
Arcana check.
Yep. DC is 10.
Good at, I was going to say I'm not good at checks.
Or, well, it would be a ritual casting check, so it's an Arcana check using your Charisma, and you're proficient at it, because it's a spell you're proficient with.
Okay.
So
something that has Charisma and proficiency?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to use Deception, because
That's fine.
Can't do that?
It still passes the DC, though.
Oh, okay.
The DC was only 10. So, yeah, you reach out into the afterlife, and you locate the soul of his son. Mav, you're up now. Sorry. I screwed all that up.
It's okay. What is the big nasty guy equipped with?
He is carrying a gigantic flaming longsword, which you're really surprised that it didn't do fire damage. It did lightning damage. But the sword is on fire. And then he has a massive whip that is also on fire.
That's
Okay.
rude.
I'm guessing I feel like I'm within range of those.
Yep, you think he could hit you with either of those weapons right now.
Do I feel like I'm within range? Yes.
Okay, well then. Let's do this. He needs to make a... You know what? He needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
He will succeed.
No, he will succeed a lot.
26.
Huh.
Constitution and a big bulky guy. Who knew?
That's unfortunate. Okay, well, blind him.
Ooh, that would have been good.
Well, Thanik, your turn. Matt's just gonna be like, go.
I'm gonna see that Mav is trying to cast a spell. Not working.
Not working.
Not working. So I'm gonna cast Mind Sliver on him.
That's not a real word.
Yeah, it is.
Which one? What does that do now?
It does a little bit of psychic damage. Oh, he's got a high resistance. If it hits him, it does some psychic damage, and then it also reduces his next save by a d4.
Gotcha.
Am I able to use my bonus action, or is it my full round?
Your full round is spent doing this ritual.
Just wanted to make sure.
This is planned out this way mostly because your friends have spent the entire game watching you perform, and now you get to suffer and do the reverse.
That's my turn.
Okay. Othig.
Okay.
Hit him, buddy.
What's that?
Hit him.
Yeah.
Get him.
Oh, pincer's still on for some reason. That's okay.
Well, I'm guessing it's going to be on anyways.
Yeah, it is going to be on it.
Yeah.
Anyways. All right. Yeah, definitely going to need the second one as a bonus action for sure.
At 20 or 19. Either will do.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
You guys don't mind sending this back to potentially a different place.
It's fine. He needs
Nothing
a
could
rest
possibly
anyway.
go wrong.
And then I will second win.
Okay. Did you take 3 attacks?
Oh, yep. Sorry, I forgot my third one.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
In fact, do. Oh man, that must have barely hit. Maybe.
I think it did just barely hit.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Now it's my turn.
Okay. So that's back to the top then, and it's its turn. And that was a good roll. So, it is going to take a longsword attack at Thanak.
Okay.
And that's going to hit you. When the lightning goes off again, this will be a total of 30 damage.
Okay.
Do you want to absorb some of that again?
Yeah.
14 points of lightning damage.
So it was a total of 30.
Yep.
Minus 7.
Yes.
Is that what I'm doing?
Yep. And then he is going to whip Mav. Mav, does a 19 hit you?
No. Yes.
So you're good.
Yeah.
You're going to take 28 points of combination slashing and fire damage, and he yanks you closer to him. Actually, you have to make a strength saving throw.
Okay. So he's yanked me towards him. Now what?
Yep. He yanks you towards him, and then at the end of his turn, he erupts in fire, and everybody needs to make con saves. No.
Oh.
No.
The map's down for the count, guys.
I'm gonna use Indomitable.
Okay.
Can Mav
Silver got Mav killed.
If
Wait,
do I have to take?
Oh, no.
You have to take it when you use Indomitable.
I think you do too.
Yep. So, Othig, you're only going to take 5 points of fire damage. Everybody else is going to take 11.
Okay. Yeah, you have to use the new roll.
Yep.
Yeah. How much was it?
11. 11 for Mav and Thanok, 5 for Othig.
I still have absorb elements up, so it's still having everything.
Oh, okay.
I think that's right. Let me check.
You figure that out and make the adjustment as you need to. Jeffrey, you're up. It's late. I want to cruise through this.
Yeah, that's fine.
So just another
check as you concentrate on the ritual. Total of 20. So, you find you're reeling him in at this point, and you find that his soul is fighting you. It doesn't necessarily want to come back, but it's being drawn. You have control of it at the moment. Mav, your turn.
Mav is dying.
Oh no!
Oh, I didn't realize you actually went down.
Yeah, he went down hard. He went down real hard.
Thanok.
Put a potion in his face hole.
Can I... If I action search... What can I...
You get a whole extra action. So you can do whatever you want with that qualifies as an action with it.
Okay. So I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read Mav a potion.
It says here that there's mushrooms and love in this potion.
So I'm gonna give him one. Here. Hey, look! You get 5 hit points.
Just enough to get him up and cancel out death saving throws.
And then I'm going to take the dodge action.
And raise your AC.
I have had this feat for many levels and never used it.
It's a wonderful one, isn't it?
Because I'm dodging, I get to do that.
Oh, nice.
What feat is that?
It's the Dwarven Fortitude or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, I use that as a barbarian. As a dwarf.
Very nice. And that's the end of your turn then, right?
Yep, that's the end of my turn.
Okay, Othig, you're up.
Wait, I'm gonna make some attacks and probably use parry. Good.
That's a miss.
Yeah, I don't think I can raise that enough, so...
That'll hit.
Goal!
And that will just barely hit.
Yeah, I figured.
Alright,
and then I will roll for parry. Hi-oh!
Nice. So you boost your AC up some more. And this time he is going to use 2 longsword attacks. One against... Well, I'll roll to see who they're against. That's what's fair.
I mean, one is prone.
2 are going against Othig. So that is a 32 to hit and an 18. So only one of them is going to hit.
Wow!
So
32.
You are clobbered for 43 points of damage from the one strike. And then everybody needs to make Constitution saving throws as the fire comes back out again.
Bye, Mav.
I am going to use my war gun.
I think you're already down, aren't you, though?
No.
Oh, the 110 was after the attack.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so...
Love you.
Mav, you're going to take 13. The other boys are going to take 6.
What did you say?
6. So, Mav is playing the awake, not awake game.
It's a fun game.
Jeffrey.
Favorite game. Alright, let's see what happens here. I am going to use my War Gong just because I want to make sure. So it's a total of a 28.
Okay. The last DC was 20. It went 10, 15, 20. So you made it. The boy sits up and he gasps, and the king is like, "He's back!" And as that happens, the Baylor fades away.
Did that consume my diamond?
It does consume your diamond.
That's what I thought. All right.
So the king is thrilled with what you've done here. This isn't quite how I expected this to go. It was a good use of skills, though, so it's an interesting play on things. The king is going to pass you an instrument as a reward.
May I have to take 4 hit points.
And he hopes you will find good use of this instrument.
Thank you.
It is magical. It's going to function similar to the ones in the DMG's guide, but I'm going to create one specially for you from the Crystal Cavern.
Oh, cool.
I'll work on that this week. But I think the whole approach of raising the dead and just doing that instead of trying to talk him down off a ledge or to persuade him for whatever was cool. And you guys, I didn't realize how mean that Baylor was going to be when I decided to throw that out. Glad you survived.
He hurt.
Glad you survived. So
Really
you
whooped up on us.
So after this room fades away, you head further down and you enter into an amazing looking part of this cavern. It is, it's a large roundish room full of white humming crystals. And the way they're humming is you don't understand the mechanics behind the way they're humming, but what they're doing is they're singing. That's the way you feel about what's happening here. Is these crystals are singing, and they sound almost like a harp, and it's the same sound that was coming out of the cave before. And as you're hearing this, the crystals begin to not fracture. That's not the way I want you to picture it, but the smaller ones begin to disconnect and to break off from all the larger ones, and they begin to swirl around the room, and they form into the vague shape of a woman who walks up to Jeff and bows before him and says, "Little bard, you have made it to my sanctuary. What would you ask of me?"
I am not very good at thinking before I speak, and
Ask
I
her
would
for a
like
tracksuit that says the dwarfling on it.
to be much wiser than I.
Like, did you just come up with that?
And
Yeah.
maybe a tracksuit that says the dwarfling. No, but that's what he would ask for.
It's a black tracksuit with gold highlights.
Because I think that's the thing that Jeff and Tony have always struggled with, but definitely Jeff, as he doesn't think before he speaks, and he always assumes. And I think it's because he doesn't think it through, and I think he would benefit from the wisdom that comes from experiencing his own failures from someone else's eyes. I think is the best way to think about that. He's never paid any attention to the things that he's done wrong, and I think maybe having those memories.
Yeah, all right.
So what I'm asking for, like mechanically, is more wisdom.
Yep,
But
I picked that up. I was picking up what you were putting down. She says this is a wonderful thing to ask for. You've not asked for riches or fame. Most who come to my cavern do so only to increase their own renown. You have done so to have less. I will grant this request. Go with my blessing.
lit.
Jeff, you can add 2 to your wisdom score.
Nice.
Very cool.
And with that, the entirety of the cavern begins to fade away, and you guys are standing in a very small, shallow cave. You can hear the wind blowing outside, and there's nothing around you but rock and stone.
Do I have a tracksuit on?
You totally have a tracksuit on.
Yes.
And it says in the back, like in big, like bold boxer style letters, the dwarfling.
Oh.
Jeff is not, He looks like a Persian nightclub owner.
Yep.
You just need to make sure you unzip it like down to the middle of your chest and have a gold medallion necklace on. And when you go for a coffee, you always scratch that and order a Doppio.
Yeah.
Doppio.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Jeff's now Ukrainian. He speaks with a Russian accent. So that's where we'll stop tonight. We'll just fast forward over Discord, you guys getting back home.
Yeah.
And we'll pick up next week, the beginning of it, of you settling matters of dispute with your neighbor to the south, and then we will determine who wants to go track down their level 12 leveler next.
Yeah.
Because that's what we should really be doing until you've all done that. And then we'll move on with story stuff. So it's not quite a sidestep from story. I'll weave story stuff in, but we'll get you your levelers.
Yeah. Sweet.
Cool. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Good night,
Night,
guys.
everybody.
Night, guys.